And we are live. Welcome everyone to the Zone of Tech live stream of the 2023 September Apple event. So we'll be talking about obviously the iPhone 15, the Apple Watch Series 9, and everything we expect from the event. And we'll be watching the event together with you guys. And then at the end of the event, of course, we'll talk to you guys about everything that Apple has announced. So I know you've probably seen all the leaks, the rumors, especially if you've been watching our videos. So you probably know most of the stuff, but I do have a feeling that we might get a few surprises, a few unexpected features. With me here, I have Harry from my team, who you've probably seen before, and also Owen, who you've also seen before if you've been watching the WWDC event. Right, so...
Can you just let us know if... Come on in, Connor. Can you just let us know if everything sounds all right, looks all right, just to make sure that we're in a good place before we get stuck into it?
Yeah, exactly. How's the audio? Is everything fine? Just let us know, and we'll adjust it on the go if something needs adjusting.
Thank you.
Okay, seems like the stream is good. The audio sounds good. Awesome. Right, so in that case, what are you guys excited for the most from the event?
Go on, Connor. Owen, even I'll let you kick it off.
I think for some reason, one of the things I'm looking forward to is to see the Apple Watch Ultra 2. I want to see what it looks like in black. Like I was always a fan of it, and when we've had it in the office, I've really wanted one, but you know, I'm not willing to fork out that money for a watch. I want to see this periscope on the iPhone. That's what I'm excited for. I want to see how they can rebrand it to make it seem as if it's something new.
I'd say the exact same thing. I've used a lot of phones, courtesy of how many we have here. The S22 was one that I settled on, for example, but the 10X on the S22 Ultra at the time, even the S21 Ultra, the telephoto unlocks a really nice kind of perspective on stuff, like zooming right in, getting close-ups, loads of depth. I've always wondered what an Apple take on that would be, because Apple's known for consistency.
Exactly.
Like, it's very easy to point and shoot with an iPhone in almost any scenario. So to give it the ability to then get that kind of portrait style shot with the simplicity of an iPhone's camera, that could be a really, really good combination. I mean, this, as I'm the only true Android user, I suppose, compared to you, Owen. I haven't really been bothered about many iPhones for a long time now. The lack of zoom has never really swayed me. The lightning has never really interested me. The Apple Watch has, so that's kind of lingered, but obviously one requires the other. This is the first iPhone, the 15 Pro, and 15 Pro Max it sounds like. This is the first one that genuinely has me thinking, I could now make a pivot. I could switch over to a different side. So we'll see how realistic that is. Obviously it's going to cost an awful lot.
Oh yeah.
And that barrier to entry also extends to likely the Apple Watch and then probably an iPad, because I have a Samsung tablet too. So yeah, I'm just not quite sure how much it's going to take to me, but I'd like to kind of see. I'm quite curious to see just how convinced I am. Because I think this is the closest it's going to get, as it has been for the last decade.
I would say
at this
so,
point.
yeah. I think for me, the thing that I'm excited for the most is by far the periscope module on the 15 Pro Max, because like one of the reasons why I kept carrying the S23 Ultra or S22 Ultra and so on with me when traveling was because of that periscope module. Like, for example, in May when I went to Imola to the F1 race, which got cancelled, but I took a bunch of phones with me. One of them being the S23 Ultra, just for that zoom. Yeah, so I'm quite excited to be able to have that on my main phone, which you know, has pretty much always been an iPhone. So I'm pretty excited for that. Although, if you've seen our videos, especially yesterday's video, which was the last minute leaks, you probably know that some things would not be as we expected them to be. For example, the periscope zoom is expected to have a 6x magnification, but with a 12.7 megapixel sensor. So what this means is that in reality, you'll get about maybe 8x of usable zoom. Whereas with the S23 Ultra, because you have 10x optical zoom, you get about maybe like 20x that's usable.
Yeah, 20 is.
Yeah.
20 is a perfectly usable zoom.
And same goes for the
that,
pixel.
Yeah, beyond that it goes a bit odd. But you know, it's 20x. It's not, how much can you expect?
Like 20x on the S23 Ultra is fully usable. It looks like a normal photo. 30X is a bit pushing it, and same goes for the Pixel 7 Pro. And I just have a feeling that the iPhone will not be as good, judging by the fact that we have less zoom than the competition, optical zoom, and then we also have a lower megapixel sensor. So unless Apple uses some of the data from the main 48 megapixel sensor and combines that with the periscope to maybe give it, I don't know, maybe a usable 10X, unless they do that, I don't think it's gonna compete with Samsung. So yeah.
Yeah, it might compete later, but in a similar way to the 48 megapixel sensor coming quite a bit, later on.
Yeah.
The sensor for the telephoto could remain the 6, which I actually think is quite a nice spot. 6 is good, but the sensor could just get upgraded later. So maybe this is Apple's, because 10 is far. That's why you need your 3X on a S23 Ultra, for example, to fill in the gaps. But the 3X isn't as good. So maybe 6 is probably going to be the best for people.
Yeah,
and
maybe.
Maybe the sensor being upgraded is the way they upgrade that. 6 remains, but the sensor is where the real upgrades are.
There was another leak that came out recently. It was today, and I believe it said that the focal distance for the periscope module would be 85 mil. So the equivalent of an 85 mil lens, which that's a really good portrait lens usually.
Yeah.
So yeah, there you go. And I'd say the other thing that I'm quite excited for is the battery life improvements. Like I've mentioned the fact that my 14 Pro, which I have right here, hasn't been that great when it comes to the battery. Like it literally dies when, I don't know, maybe at like 4 or 5 p.m. It's not great, and I barely use it during the day. So, but the thing is that 13 Pro was amazing. That could last me for a day and a half of constant usage. So I do hope that we get some proper battery life improvements, and judging by the fact that the A17 is said to be based on a smaller 3nm manufacturing process, and we're also getting significantly bigger batteries by up to 18%, we should hopefully see some noticeable improvements here.
Yeah, I was going to say, well, like you say, it has to be noticeable, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It can't just be a small increase. It's going to have to be a significant increase, because they've been kind of back and forth with the battery life on the iPhones for a few years now, it seems, because the 13s were amazing.
The 13s were amazing, yeah.
And the 12s were bad.
Yeah, exactly.
the 12s are
And now the
pretty bad.
14's bad again. So it's just kind of like you would assume in the back and forth. That ultimately this one's going to be decent again, but how decent, I don't know. The Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 has given a lot of Android phones very good battery life. So the standard's quite good right now, so I hope the iPhone at least meets that standard.
What I think is
If not beats it.
interesting was that we did the battery test for the S23 Ultra and the iPhone 14 Pro Max, and they were like so close. The iPhone was almost better in a way, and yet if you had the same phones now, same usage, but months down the line, maybe the Samsung would just be better just because of that battery health issue.
Yeah, I would say so. Like a lot of people, I've been tweeting about this for quite some time,
Yeah.
and a lot of you have responded, and a lot of other reviewers have also tweeted about this. The fact that the battery health on the iPhone 14 Pro specifically is really, really poor. Like mine's at 88%, and I mean, I haven't checked on my 13 Pro, but I'm pretty sure that was at maybe 90 something, 93, maybe 94 after a year. So it seems like the battery health just drops way faster with the 14 Pros. I don't know if they've just switched to a different battery supplier or if it's software related, if they changed the algorithm, I don't know. But it does drop significantly more than with the previous models. And I guess features like the always on display, the chip is a bit more power hungry than the A15. So I guess these two things, always on display, more powerful chip, and also the significantly brighter displays with the iPhone 14 Pro being able to go to 2000 nits of brightness. So I think all of these things combined are why the battery is so poor.
Yeah, I mean 2000 nits is, you see it in person, it's no joke. It's noticeably there, isn't it? Yeah, if you compare it to anything else, even compared to like the flagships from Samsung, it's kind of like that 250 nit difference is definitely there. So they're clearly willing to sacrifice battery life for that kind of experience, and I would agree with that. But like, yeah, they're always on display with the background visible. I can't speak for how efficient it is, but it doesn't look very efficient. And
But
yeah,
it does
like you
look
say,
good. It does look good,
it does
though.
look really good. Yeah, to be fair. But that's the thing. It's kind of like the features they offer are pretty good, just a little bit beyond others in that regard. But then, yeah, the battery life just seems to kind of struggle. So maybe they're intentionally not too bothered. Maybe they deem it okay. It's hard to say because they've had better in the past, and they've advertised 3 hours more and stuff like that. So the way they see it is hard to define. We'll see it with this event. We'll see if they say that the 14 Pro already had amazing battery life, but now it's even better, which would be an interesting way of wording it.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, essentially the reason why the 13 Pros were so good was because the chip was more power efficient. Like the A15 chip, I'm pretty sure that was the second generation 5nm chip that Apple had. So the first one was the A14. And yeah, that was one of the reasons why it was better. And of course, the battery sizes were also increased significantly with the 13. So this is essentially what we're getting now. We're getting a more power efficient chip and again, a larger battery. So hopefully that should bring the battery life to the same levels as the 13s or maybe even better.
I would hope so. I mean, there's also iOS 17. When that fully comes out, people are reporting like way better battery life on the most recent updates that is better than iOS 16, which
would make a difference.
Some people had some issues with it when it comes to battery life. I never really noticed it, but I'm interested to see just how far it can really be pushed with software and hardware. And in the future, we are going to see those EU regulations come into place when it comes to the battery cycles. So Apple will either be forced to give people much better batteries, or they'll have to be replaceable.
They did meet them though.
Did they?
Yeah.
500?
500, yeah.
If you read the specifics, the EU rules are seemingly referring to really bad batteries.
Yeah.
Apple's seemingly bad battery is actually good enough. Just about, I think they're literally on the limit. But
they are on the limit, yeah.
I think the European ones are referring more to like even worse batteries, even fewer cycles, more noticeable drop off. So yeah, in terms of where the iPhone sits, it sits right where it needs to be in that regard. Unfortunately,
so, just a bit of a context for you guys. Essentially, each battery is rated to a specific number of cycles. Apple rates their iPhone batteries to 500 cycles, which means that if your battery drops below 80% health and you have less than 500 cycles, they'll replace your battery for free. That's the idea. Now, what's really interesting is that every single battery that Apple has in the MacBooks, the Apple Watch, all the other products, they're rated for 1,000 cycles. So the iPhone is the only product from Apple that is rated for 500, which happens to be the limit that the European Union also has for batteries. So I do find that very, very odd.
They also had stipulations about waterproof, because if you have to have things glued together, then it's kind of hard to put your battery in. So they were a bit lenient when it came to IP-rated phones as well.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of open to interpretation on Apple's end. I think there'll be some stretch with the rules because they're the biggest phone retailer around. Like they're gonna have some influence in that regard. But at the same time, the general gist of it is just to make things last longer and make them of a higher quality when they ship. So you'd think that Apple would already be kind of keeping that idea in mind, but obviously pushing it when it comes to batteries is relevant, yeah. But I think that the rules that the EU are putting out there, I don't, other than the USB-C ones, which obviously kind of force their hand, but Lightning was already a bit of a joke anyway. But in terms of batteries, I don't really see the EU having much say in terms of the way Apple goes about this. I think that the switch to USB-C was only a matter of time anyway. I think it was Byron mentioned it's quite frustrating that at the moment, yeah, you could buy this new iPhone, but you want a pair of AirPods Max, well, you're going to have to wait. There's no USB-C version. Same for the regular AirPods and a bunch of other devices. So it's kind of like a job half done if you were to look at it from the ecosystem perspective. But USB-C was definitely inevitable. The fact that it's on the MacBooks and the iPads speaks for itself. So give it a year's time and USB-C will have forgot Lightning was even really a thing apart from the phones that still have it. And yeah, it'll be USB-C just everywhere. So that will be behind us. And the next conversations, will be battery health. But if these new iPhones have good battery health, then that conversation's probably going to end as well.
That's the thing I've been so excited about, the iPhone finally switching to USB Type-C, because obviously now I can use the same cable to charge my iPhone, my MacBook, technically even my Apple Watch, because that's also got a USB-C at the end. But then I realized that my AirPods are still Lightning. So yeah, I'll still need to carry a Lightning cable just for the AirPods. I mean, actually no, hold on. I won't, because with the second-gen AirPods Pros, you can actually charge them with the Apple Watch charger.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, very specifically them, yeah, and only them at the same time, yeah.
Okay, so the event starts in about 14 minutes. There are 407,000 people watching. Sorry, 435 just went up.
Watching
so
the Apple event.
exactly.
Specifically.
So the way that we're going to do this live stream, we did leave a message there, is we're not allowed to stream Apple's live stream directly because we'll get a copyright strike. Sadly, that's just how it works. So what we're going to do is we're going to have it in that corner, in that bottom left corner, just so that you can also watch it in a different window and then kind of sync up with us. So that's a workaround to avoid Apple's automatic systems giving us a copyright strike. So that's the idea. Open up a separate window. You can watch it side by side or on a different device. And that way you'll be able to watch the live stream, our live stream, and the Apple event at the same time.
Sorry, go on.
I was going to say, is anyone actually going to buy the iPhone 15 this year? Pro or regular?
I don't think the regular's the greatest.
I'm interested to see if people will go for it.
It's not sounding like the greatest value proposition out there. It's just kind of, I don't know, it's got dynamic island. That might mean more to people than others. And it has a subtle change to the design, which can mean, even the new colors. But the reality is that the actual key part of the phone itself is just a bit familiar. So yeah, I think the 15 Pro definitely. Well, the Pro Max definitely anyway.
The thing with the standard iPhone 15 is that it is pretty much an iPhone 14 Pro. Like, it's got the same display, aside from maybe the brightness and the 120 hertz, of course. But you get, the same dynamic island display, the same bezels, the same resolution. You get the same camera resolution on the back. Apparently, it's going to be a lower end sensor. But essentially, what I'm trying to say is that you might as well buy a refurbished 14 Pro, which you'll probably be able to get for the same price. And you'll get more features. You'll get a brighter display, you'll get a 120 hertz, you'll get a 3x optical zoom module on the back, the macro from the ultra-wide. I'm trying to remember if there's anything else. There's probably more stuff.
Display?
Yeah, the brighter display.
Like we said earlier, that's a noticeable feature. Yeah.
Build quality, if you like the frosted back and the stainless steel as well, if you like the look of it.
Yeah.
I think that's probably going to be, like I was saying earlier about how this might be the first iPhone to take me into the kind of Apple kingdom. But I think regardless, what I'd do is I wouldn't buy it now and I'd wait until next year.
Yeah.
And I'd just wait for it to reduce it because it's like cars almost. They just diminish so fast. That why would I bother paying the ridiculous prices? I may as well wait for it to go down. 16 comes out and then I'll jump in.
Exactly.
You could say the same for the Series 9 unless they massively redesign it. Because last year's stuff, at the moment with Apple's approach, last year's stuff is almost always good, really still very good, and the incremental improvements aren't enough to demand the RRP costs. So yeah, we'll see eventually, but I think, if you want to buy it and you want to buy it cheaper, you will just have to wait.
100%, yeah.
The price does go down, it always does. Not on Apple's website, but elsewhere it always does. So you just need to give time.
Technically, even on Apple's website, if you just look in the refurbished section, and I highly recommend everyone buy refurbished products. Like, I bought 2 refurbished MacBooks myself, an M1 MacBook Air and an M2 MacBook Air, and they've both been great. And the same applies to the iPhones. Like, you get a new shell, so the whole chassis is brand new. You get a new battery. So the only things that are not new would be, the logic board and the chip and all that, but you don't care about those. So realistically, you get a new phone, but you get 15% off. And the box looks a bit different, but aside from that, it's basically the same product as a new iPhone.
It won't matter when you already put it in the recycling anyway.
Exactly.
It makes it easier to get rid of when it doesn't have a design on it, yeah.
Okay, we have about 10 minutes remaining. We can probably take a few questions from the audience if you guys have any questions for us before the event.
Well, Rishi's made an interesting point about a $900 phone with a 60 hertz refresh rate.
I was looking at that one as well.
It's hard to ignore. I mean, in Apple's world, a lot of people just kind of have their heads in the sand. They don't really know what else is out there, and Apple exploits that mentality. But there is a point where they start pushing their luck, and I think we're pretty much at that point now.
Yeah.
Where the standards that Apple are manufacturing to are just kind of a bit low. And the competition, It's not even just the competition, it's like everybody else, not even just the competition, even the cheaper phones have embraced this as almost a normal thing. You don't really see USB-C touted as a big feature anymore. And in a similar vein, high refresh rates are now just the norm. You'd struggle to find one without most of the time. So the fact that Apple still pushes their luck with that is a little bit kind of I think you might need to you've only got this year basically. And then beyond that, surely not. 90 hertz, full 120 that you have on the other ones.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's cheeky, ultimately, I think is what it is.
That's the thing. It's like I said, it's so difficult finding an Android phone that's still 60 hertz. Like honestly, it's so difficult. Even the really cheap ones, like you can find like £200 or $250 Poco phones that come with 90 hertz displays, 120 hertz. Obviously, they have a really weak cheap chip. Can't even pronounce things
A
anymore.
cheap chip as well, to be fair.
But yeah, that's the thing. They do have high refresh rate displays, whereas Apple just doesn't.
But they're also years old. They're like 2-3 years old in some cases, and yeah, still 120 hertz and LTPO, whatever, take it or leave it. But even without, it's still a good experience. If it's locked to 120, that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah.
It is for the battery a little bit, but not terrible. But you know, Samsung's had it since the S20, and they've had it on
the S20,
all models, and the S20 was good. They've all been good since, and Samsung's one thing, but now even Google's putting it on the, is it the 7A?
Yeah, the Pixel 7a comes
Is
with
90
90
hertz.
hertz.
Yeah.
Like the standard is
Refresh
just
display.
kind of, the standard's kind of like up here, and Apple just isn't even passing this. But the standard's like not even the top of the kind of like competition. The standard is low, and they're not even meeting that. So it's just a bit. It's an example of where they can push their luck, and this isn't the first time we've seen this. So it is interesting to see them really drag it out.
I just really wish it was 90 hertz at least, because it does make a big difference, even just that little bit. And I would consider not like a Pro if it had a high refresh rate, because that is the one thing that puts me off. Like I can live without some of the other features, but that just makes it seem so slow when they put a chip in that, like the last generation, 120 hertz, and you can tell is fast.
Oh yeah.
It just feels like a waste.
It's
And
just
I don't really see the value in not doing it.
It's such a multiplier as well. A high refresh rate. It affects everything. There's like no area that you don't notice it. Other than like playing back video or whatever, but any kind of interaction is boosted by that. It multiplies everything.
Exactly,
So it's a huge deal to have that.
And that's the thing. We have a lot of phones in the office, even if we don't show all of them on video. But we have like 40 phones or something like that.
Well, more than that, definitely, yeah.
We have loads of phones, and the thing is, we've compared a bunch of them side by side in here, and a lot of the times when you compare a 60 hertz iPhone, even though it has a flagship chip, and you compare it against a very low end Android that comes with a 120 hertz, the Android feels significantly faster. Even though it's technically not, at least not by raw performance, but because of that display, everything just feels faster.
Yeah. It almost thinks, why even get that chip? It just feels a bit overkill for what you're getting out of it. You're not getting any of the pros from the chip. It just feels like a waste of money.
Yeah, what else have we got then in the 6 minutes we have left?
Let's see, any interesting questions?
Well, we should probably just quickly address MacBook Pros and MacBook Airs and such like that coming or not, probably in March next year and not this year. Neither in a press release or an event, because this is probably going to be the only event in this year
Looks like it,
that's left. But so far as what we're aware, iPad next month in some kind of press release, and we're talking maybe iPad Air and probably just that. And then that's it. Yeah, and then you can wait until March for a bunch of MacBook stuff, or maybe even WWDC, like we've had in a few recent years.
We just got a super chat from Salmon Boy, and he's saying, lots of love from India. Tell me which one is better between the S23 Ultra and the iPhone 15 Pro. I'm assuming you're referring to the Pro Max. It's a really tough one because like Samsung uses some very high-end components. I'm talking about not just the chip, not just the build quality, but also that 200 megapixel camera. We have a 3x optical zoom module, and then the 10x optical zoom module. The ultrawide is really good, so it's a very good package. And then on the 15 Pro Max, obviously you'll have a bit of a lower zoom level. You don't have the 200 megapixel sensor. You have the 48. From our testing, the Samsung was a bit better, at least compared to the 14 Pros. And the 15 Pros are said to be using the same module as the 14 Pros from last year. So I would say there is a very high chance that the S23 Ultra will still take better photos than the iPhone 15 Pro Max, unless Apple completely changes their image processing.
Yeah, to be fair, their processing has been noticeably... It's odd because it's like they've intentionally made it worse, but it has been noticeably worse in recent phones, regardless of how good the sensor is. Yeah, I mean, ultimately, like you say, Daniel, the camera is close, but Samsung seems to nail more scenarios, unless you take a lot of video. at the same time, I think that ultimately that question is determined by software, isn't it? Like
Exactly,
iOS versus Android in general, Samsung's version, they're a world apart. Do you have any interest in buying more Apple products? Then definitely go with iOS. Do you generally want cheaper accessories? Then go with Android. Do you want more choice? Go with Android. Do you want generally higher end stuff? You know, even the accessories tends to be better on the iPhones. They have a far better system in place for the other pieces, then go with iOS. Generally, I would imagine that if price is of a factor, the S23 Ultra will already be cheaper.
Exactly.
And will likely only get cheaper from here on out. So, yeah, I don't know. It's never as simple as one or the other. There's so much to weigh up. But generally, I would say S23 Ultra. But if your mentality was to build into the ecosystem, then iOS 100%, the iPhone 15 Pro Max.
And something to also remember here is that the 15 Pro Max is set to be delayed, so the actual pre-orders will start a bit later, and then it will also ship a bit later. 3 to 4 weeks was the estimate, so that pushes it to mid-October. And the S24 Ultra is set to launch in January, right? So if you want to wait for the S24 Ultra, they'll have an even better camera than the S23 Ultra. You can do that, or you can also wait until January and then get the S23 Ultra at an even lower price. So that is something very important to consider. So, yeah.
Yeah, complicated question to unpack, to be fair. Someone's saying about reviewing the watch. Probably not. Not a review, at least. We will cover it. But in terms of a review, I just don't think there's enough interest in the product in general to even consider
Probably
it, really.
not. I mean, at the end of the day, the Apple Watch Series 9 is a Series 8 with a new chip, a new U2 chip, maybe some new colors, and a new heart rate sensor that might make the heart rate monitor a bit more accurate. But other than that, it is very similar to the Series 8, which was already very similar to the Series 7. So I would say if you have a Series 7, there's no need to upgrade. We'll have to wait and see. Maybe things will be different after the event.
True.
But at least, considering what we know so far, I don't think anyone should upgrade if you already have a Series 7. Like, I'm literally still using the Series 7, and I'm not going to upgrade. Unless Apple adds a ton more features. But you also need to remember that next year, the Series 10 or the Series X, whatever Apple Watch name Apple gives it,
the special one,
that is rumored to be a huge change. The biggest change since the introduction of the Apple Watch, with a brand new design, a lot of new features, and just a rethought in a way, completely restructuring the idea of the Apple Watch, essentially. That's what.
Yeah, I mean, if you just look at the iPhone 10, I don't think it'll be as drastic of a jump as we're kind of interpreting, because at the end of the day, even the iPhone 10 wasn't that drastic. It wasn't like the software changed, it was just the kind of hardware and the interaction and stuff. So yeah, I mean, in terms of reviews, probably not. There's just not enough to it. In general, the product isn't as exciting. Next year, though, it's probably going to be way more exciting than the iPhone. So this is the iPhone's year.
Just a quick one. The Apple event is now starting. So if you can, if you guys can open up a new window, have it side by side with our live stream, and then you can watch both our live stream and the Apple event at the same time. So yeah, what we're showing now is a buildup of what appears to be the dust, we call it titanium dust, from the Apple event invite. And if you look closely, you can see that there's different colors to that. So there's some dark blue, right?
I'm seeing that.
There's some silver. There's also a gray that I'm seeing. There's also space gray. So I'm pretty certain that those are the iPhone 15 Pro's rumored colors, and that's the meaning behind this. In fact, we actually do have, let me quickly bring these here. We do actually have the iPhone 15 mock-ups with us. So
we can compare them.
Yeah.
I mean, it very much does seem like those stones are the colors. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So there you go. These are the mock-ups that we recently got. Shout out to Sonny Dixon for sourcing these for us. And there you go. These are the 4 rumored colors. These should be quite accurate. If you've seen our video from yesterday, then you've already seen these colors. They should be quite accurate in terms of how the final ones should look like. But yeah, we have the silver, we have the space gray, and then we have these two new colors, which are said to be a darker version of the blue, which does look quite similar to the 12 Pro specific blue, but it's also got a green tint to it. And then we got the new gray, which is completely new.
I like that a lot, that gray. I really...
Because you have the S23 Ultra, very similar. Yeah, there you go.
The color, if you can see in that camera, or is it better in this one?
It's probably better in...
the color palette
hold on, you're covering.
quite similar between the two of these, even down to like the black frames and stuff like that. And I'm personally quite a big fan of this one. So this feels like a color that was made for me. I'm quite happy to see that color.
Yeah, it did look good on the Samsung.
Yeah. Okay, so the Apple event is now actually starting.
How's the Apple Watch?
Okay, so it's an accessibility, I'm assuming, trailer.
I wonder if it's... okay.
So yeah, remember guys to open up a new window and then have that side by side alongside this live stream so that you can watch both our live stream and then Apple's one. And then you can use the tiny preview in the corner, on the left hand side corner, to essentially sync up the live stream with our chat here. Okay, so from the looks of it, it seems to be...
Oh, birthday theme.
Yeah.
Is it
the birthday for
Is it
Apple
some
Watch?
kind of anniversary?
Not as far as I'm aware.
It's, yeah. Birthday and accessibility seems to be the two themes.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the iPhone is turning 15, but it's not on the day, because that would be in January. So, I don't know. Apple Watch notified her of a low heart rate, went to the hospital and received vital pacemaker surgery.
So it's more of the stuff we've seen about the Apple Watch being the savior of the people.
It's yeah, it's one of those.
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah, that's why the birthday is significant. You've made it to another one.
Exactly, yeah. And Stephen Watts got trapped miles off rail while rappelling, used emergency SOS to call for support. And then Omar, he passed out from a seizure and crashed his car. Crash detection called 911. Interesting. Imani had a tumor, which the Apple Watch indirectly discovered, yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't realize that data could lead to that conclusion.
It's tricky because you have to have a very open-minded doctor. Because a lot of the doctors, when you tell them that, oh, my Apple Watch said this, they're like, oh, okay, it's an Apple Watch.
Yeah, it's a new thing, isn't it, in that regard, yeah.
So you need to have an open-minded doctor that is willing to look at the data that your Apple Watch has, and then obviously run some more tests from those, and then hopefully discover what's wrong with you.
We can make, in terms of the Apple Events camera, this one, we can't make it any bigger, by the way. If we make it any bigger, then we open to copyright, and then we can't do the live stream at all. So it has to remain the smaller preview, just so you have a sense of where we're at,
Exactly,
to where you might be. Yeah, I do love these stories. I don't think it should be, you need to look after yourself. Make sure you look after yourself first and foremost. But I think it's just a really nice way of showing that technology can play a part in, like a passive way in a way. It can passively integrate into your life.
It's another layer of protection.
Look after you in a situation where you didn't think you needed it, yeah.
Yeah.
I think
and they're always just well filmed. Always good to look at.
Yeah, give them that.
Apple's cinematography is always so good.
All of it, the music, the way they put it together, it's
Okay, and the event, the ad is now over, so we see a pan of the Apple campus, the Cupertino HQ.
There he is.
The man, Tim Cook. iPhone, Apple Watch. There you go.
Transparency. Not AirPods?
I don't know. Those might be a very quick mention.
Probably first thing he says, probably, yeah.
The Mac.
I don't think it's product
okay.
I
updates.
think it's. I think it's maybe a reminder that
yeah. A yearly recap, as it's the
Yeah.
last event of the year. Oh,
the Mac Pro.
yeah,
Yeah.
it is definitely is, isn't it?
Yeah.
15 chair. I think it is just a reminder. Oh, interesting. Marquez got a shout out.
No.
Marquez getting a shout out by everybody. I think that's the peak, isn't it? If Apple have shouted you out,
Yeah,
I don't get much better
exactly.
than that.
Oh yeah, the Apple Vision Pro. Let's see. Any updates on that?
I was hoping we'd maybe get an update, but
It's an odd one, isn't it? Because it's kind of like it never even happened. It still feels like a concept. I suppose it is a concept until we've seen it in a actual
Exactly.
usable scenario. It is very much that, yeah. It certainly looks like it exists.
is that an Apple TV shout out too?
Tim is so excited. I just seen
For the people,
this is so cool. Like
yeah.
it's so good to see that YouTubers and tech reviewers get some recognition and not just the traditional publications that have always been mentioned in the past. So that's really really good.
It's recognizing personalities.
Exactly. Yeah.
I assume they're all probably there. Especially
Exactly,
the American
yeah.
ones, yeah.
Early next year. Okay, so that's still the plan, but that's in the
So-
US for the Apple Vision Pro.
Yeah, it was late year, wasn't it? From,
Exactly, yeah.
everywhere else.
The big news of the day. Okay,
Here we go.
Is this going to be like an hour long, this event? Because he's well to the
I
point.
think so.
It's the same as last year, yeah. Apple Watch first.
I'm assuming that he's gonna start with the Apple Watch and leave the iPhone until the end. That's my guess.
Yeah, like it'll be Apple Watch regular, Apple Watch Ultra,
Yeah.
and then iPhone regular, and then iPhone Pro. I assume like last year, yeah.
Yeah, there we go. Let's start with the Apple Watch, yeah. So that's obviously the smaller update.
Rate the transition, Owen. How good are we talking nowadays?
Okay. We did talk about this earlier.
Yeah,
How good can it be?
I'm underwhelmed by Apple.
Beautiful drum shot. Okay, that was a very simple transition.
They've done so much better in the past. They've downgraded them all recently.
This location is interesting though.
I thought
Nice drum
the
shot.
Apple campus was going to turn into the rings on the digital crown or something. That is a lovely location.
Whereabouts is that? Does anyone know?
Go back to
My
the second.
assumption was like Chicago or New York.
I don't think it's New York.
It looks like Chicago from everything being squared, but I don't really know.
The next generation of Apple Watch. Okay, let's see. Oh, is that a new band?
Pink.
Okay, that's a new band.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it not just a Velcro band?
There you
It
go,
looks
the
like a new
new
band.
Watch OS.
Oh, the Link band is still here.
It's just a Velcro band, isn't it?
It looked a bit more spiky.
It's San Francisco.
In pink.
Whoopsie.
Oh, is it San Fran?
Series
Oh,
9, okay. Let's see.
Cheers, Matt.
I'm curious about these new features.
I'm curious about how long this section's going to be, because that was
And-
really quick. Hey, there you go.
Hey, that's cool.
Good transition.
Yeah.
That's what we like to see. No cheap transition there.
I love their offices. They're so minimal, so clean. So yeah.
I don't know if these, I don't believe that these are their offices.
Yeah, that's true.
They're just
they're
sets.
they're too airbrushed. Yeah, they just look like sets to me.
Wow, that's a huge chunk of metal. That's huge. That chip is huge.
What was the nanometers this was meant to be upgraded to?
This is 5.
From like
It's supposed to be 5.
5 from 7?
60% more powerful than the Series 8, 30%. Okay. I mean, keep in mind that the Series 8 had the same chip as the 7 and the 6.
I thought it would be more than that, really, but
Yeah.
it's something.
They're talking about how the
Yeah.
animations look smooth, but they were already very smooth with the previous chip.
Would you upgrade?
All day, 18-hour battery life. Okay, so this is the same.
It's the same.
This is the same battery life. Okay, I'm definitely not upgrading, guys, unless it comes with some big new features, but I doubt it.
But I wonder if it's the new watchOS that might be affecting battery life as well.
That's true. I think it will. Okay. So Siri is faster to respond.
It does take a while sometimes.
It does. But it's not too bad.
Do you notice that very often?
I've noticed
I
it
don't
a couple
use
times.
Siri a lot on my Apple Watch.
No.
Okay, dictation is 25% more accurate.
More accurate.
I do use dictation, especially when I'm out with just my watch to respond to messages, and it's really good already. And that's both in English and Romanian.
So, is the on-device Siri going to only be for the Series 9?
Yeah,
That's what it sounds
that's
like.
because of
from
the new
there.
chip, yeah.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say that these two changes are worth upgrading for. Yeah, so we got to look at the bands, and from the looks of it, we still have the leather band, we still have the silicone band, so maybe the leaks that they would be going away were actually not true.
Well, that leather loop, the Link brand was definitely there, like
Yeah.
clear as day. So, yeah. Does that mean the Hermes is still there?
I don't think the Hermes is still there, but we'll see. Yeah, there we go. So that's the U2 chip.
Take that one. Put it on the bingo card. Oh, I thought this was actually.
Okay, so here's
that
the
is
weird
quite
thing.
useful.
Here's the weird thing. If you have an Apple Watch, you can ping your iPhone. You can already do that. And the Apple Watches, they also have a U1 chip, just like the iPhone 11s and newer and so on.
And the AirPods.
And the AirPods.
AirTags even. AirTag, which has that feature.
But you don't get that animation. Like you can just ping the iPhone, but you don't get that location.
Compass sort of
Yeah.
thing.
So unlike the AirTag, for which you can do that, it just doesn't work with the Apple Watch and the iPhone. I don't know why. With the U1 chip.
Yeah, that doesn't feel like it should be exclusive to the.
Okay,
Wow.
here's a good upgrade. The brightness is double on the Series 8, now matching the first gen Apple Watch Ultra. So we get 2000 nits instead of 1000.
And it's
Oh, and it
still,
goes-
Wow,
still
it
low
goes to
too.
1 nit. Right, okay.
it's that same battery life though.
Okay, let's see. A new incredible capability given by the new chip. Okay, this gotta be good.
It looks like CGI. It's so smooth.
Yeah, it does feel like it, doesn't it? I bet all the people in the background are actors.
Oh, they got
do-
some already on the screen.
Is this the control thing that they mentioned
The
at one point?
yeah, assistive. I think it's
accessibility.
called assistive touch. Or no, assistive something on the Apple Watch. Wait, hold on. This
Use
isn't
what?
new.
Oh,
Double tap.
Are they just trying to remind people that it exists because people don't use it?
Wait, but this isn't new.
I think it's baked into the system now. You do not need.
Don't tell
the
me you
S9
need.
for that.
This has been on Apple Watches since, I think, the Series 6 or the 5. I don't even remember. For quite some time. Yeah, this already exists.
But it's never been. Has it been an accessibility thing before?
Yeah,
But now it's actually baked into the system.
but it seems like you'll need a S9 chip.
That doesn't seem very
Let's
legit.
see. They might just have it across the board.
Yeah, but the whole point
Yeah, there you go.
was that
This
it
is
was-
enabled by the neural
yeah.
engine.
The whole point was that this
Okay.
was something that had been unlocked with this new powerful chip.
Exactly.
It's like they just had nothing to ship, so they've been. Yeah, that's odd. I didn't expect
That's
that.
really odd. We'll definitely cover this in our video for sure.
So-
Maybe it's a bit more accurate, maybe.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, that's what if you
Double
use
tap.
Vision Pro.
Do it. Whee! There it is.
Okay.
So yeah, it is definitely a system-wide default feature now.
Yeah. Okay.
But the
Okay,
thing is,
interesting.
I actually had this enabled on my Apple Watch years ago. And it was good, but I disabled it because sometimes it would enable when I was just walking or when I was doing something else with my hand. So
Oh, they just took a photo with it.
so maybe it's just very accurate now.
I think, yeah, maybe they've got it to a point where they are happy to use it as a system thing. It's a nice
Exactly.
touch, to be fair. Google removed one-handed gestures from Wear OS, and I still miss it to this day.
Did I?
Yeah, you used to be able to scroll for everything like that, select things by doing that. It used to
I remember that, yeah.
It used to be amazing, and then it's just not come back since. It's a bit annoying, really. There you go, we're done with the Series 9 already.
A new pink aluminium. Okay, so we do get a new color.
The pink is quite nice.
Yeah, I don't mind it. Oh, there's
cool.
the blue.
Getting ceramic
Gold,
back.
silver,
What
graphite.
novelty are we getting?
Okay, I think this confirms that the blue iPhone will be almost white because there's a blue Apple Watch that almost looks white.
Very washed out. Yeah, someone said, is this an already... So that double tap is an accessibility feature.
Yeah,
up
it is.
until now, where it's being shipped as something bigger.
If you have an Apple Watch right now, chances are that you can already use the double tap if you simply go to the accessibility settings and enable it from there.
Yeah, someone says it's available on SE.
What's this? A leaked meeting?
Is this all of them?
This is about a new band.
Is it?
I think so, yeah. She's upset because Apple hasn't been that eco-friendly, I guess.
Is it the leather?
Is
I think
Apple
it
just
is.
so bored of saying the same things that they've decided to make it more entertaining?
This is my third corporate responsibility gig today, so who wants to disappoint me? Updates we're excited to share with you. Materials status.
Yep, it's a band
Surely.
The process of
update.
eliminating all plastic from our packaging by the end. Let me guess. Years from now, when someone else is left holding the bag. By the end of next year.
Also currently using 100% recycled aluminum in the enclosures of all our MacBooks, these Apple Watch.
What about iPhone? It's a joke. Don't you people make Ted Lasso?
It's a different. We're also phasing out leather in our iPhone cases.
Oh, there you go. You said
there
it.
it is, there it is.
Phasing you out too?
Brando. Pretty good.
Leather case is going away, confirmed.
Electricity status.
We're operating on 100% clean electricity.
What runs on 100% clean electricity?
Our office, store, and data center runs on you and your
Apple offices are already carbon neutral. Building is carbon neutral?
yeah, we do mix.
But just the offices for now, not the manufacturing. That's a
Far
whole
from it.
different story.
Yeah.
Don't look at India.
Sorry, you want to tell me how photosynthesis works too? clean, renewable electricity.
That we're shipping more products by ocean rather than air, which reduces transportation emissions by 95%.
I gotta say, the cinematography is so good.
And the acting.
Yeah,
Just
the acting as well.
Pretty good,
surprising.
yeah. I like this take, because if this wasn't this, it would just be someone stood there going,
Exactly.
giving
yeah.
numbers and just this is a more entertaining version of it. Yeah.
100%, yeah. And the fact that it's essentially their regular employees acting in this is so.
Is it though?
Yeah, this is actually.
I recognize some of them.
I
I'm
mean,
not sure
at
about
least the ones that I
rest.
recognize. Yeah, I think that's Lisa. I think that was her name.
Yeah, she's the one who she's the one who said that you're not going to charge her anymore.
Yeah.
I remember that.
And you'll be grateful.
It is a bit long.
It is quite long, yeah. So I think it's because they're preparing to announce that, yeah, the letter cases and maybe even the letter bands are going away and being replaced with something else.
Tim Cook
you
looks like
go.
made of clay.
Yeah, a lot of makeup on him or something.
He looks angry.
Thumbnail material.
Disappointed Tim.
Okay, good. See you next year.
He was giving her the death stare right there.
Oh.
Okay.
The plan was that, yeah, okay.
I wonder how
Quite
long
the
that was.
skit.
Yeah.
It was really good. It was really good.
This is why the iPhone's so expensive.
We're not getting all
The
that again, are
production
we?
factory.
I think we are. I think she's gonna update us on some big case changes.
But the cases are for the iPhone.
In front of
Yeah.
solar panels. Nice.
Oh, it is the same person, yeah.
Years ago, we did our corporate operation around the world carbon neutral. It was the first step towards our most ambitious environmental commitment 2030. Our plan to be business. All of our plans to net significantly
Right. Let's see.
I didn't think they'd linger on this for this long.
Seems to be quite important for them in that case.
Yeah.
It's gonna be all. It's all about image, isn't it?
lower carbon impact than virgin materials. We use 100% in our watch case. Let's recycle phone, tin,
So the Apple Watch Series 9, essentially what they're saying is that the Apple Watch Series 9 is made out of more recycled materials. Oh, the cobalt is recycled. Okay, that's new.
Oh, okay, so
Okay.
same band, recycled yarn.
Okay.
That explains why it was on the pink one in the thing. Yeah. I thought it already was.
Yeah, apparently it wasn't. Yeah.
investing in renewable energy like this solar Central California.
Oh, that solar installation is huge. Look at that.
Yeah.
Wow.
That'll power a lot of stuff, yeah.
Okay, that's impressive. So all Apple Watch manufacturing, not just their offices, will be 100% clean.
Yeah, I mean, it's
I wonder if
rightly
it's more
so,
like
it's
the numbers produced, like they're taking, they're
clean
creating.
would be nice.
Your expected electricity by investing in renewable energy projects. Finally,
Maybe.
We got a super chat from username What, and I'm not gonna say what you said, but I'm not gonna
It's not
comment
even
on
a
that.
farm.
Made me say what?
But I do appreciate the super chat, so thank you.
Right. Okay. So they're saying they're giving you a smaller box.
Are they?
Sorry, I did miss that.
It gets smaller.
It looks like
I mean,
they're
who
trying to
cares,
reduce the
but,
size
like-
of everything. So
I guess it makes sense. The Apple Watch box was quite big, considering
the
how
watch
small.
box.
Yeah.
I forgot we were talking about the watch.
Yeah.
We've been on this for so long, I thought we were on the iPhones at this point.
No, not yet. No iPhones yet. Oh, that's such a nice shot. So the Apple Watch is the first carbon neutral product, meaning that everything about it is made from or using clean energy, which is
I wonder how many other
Pretty
companies
good.
will start
It's
to
just a cleaner
do this
production
big
cycle.
carbon
Yeah.
neutral push in the future once they have the technology to do it.
I don't know, maybe quite a few.
Obviously, it's the goal of like a lot of world governments at this point.
It's just cheaper, isn't it, when it's done right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
so much easier just to produce your own electricity rather
Oh, yeah.
than getting it from overseas
It
and
is
paying
cheaper,
their
yeah.
rates. Why would you not just do it yourself?
Yeah.
Someone has commented saying, "This is what you do when you have nothing, as in nothing to show." I think
much
that is
to show.
somewhat true. They have got
Certainly,
probably less to show than we would like to see.
Oh, letter.
Yeah, certainly not much to show.
Oh, wow. Okay. So they are not going to use leather anymore in any Apple Watch products, including
should.
the watch bands. Yeah, they did. Yeah.
I mean, fair enough.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll see what
Now-
Hermes does then.
Okay. So they've developed
Hermes is gone.
a new
I think.
textile, fine woven. Okay, this is the one that got leaked, and we did talk about that.
Oh. Was the,
Right.
Was the strap in that thing this anyway?
No.
Magnetic link. Oh, interesting.
Right. So it's going to be like a fabric material.
Really?
Okay, so the Hermes collaboration is still happening, but I'm
Oh,
assuming,
that's-
are they going to be cheaper because of this?
That's quite cool. Didn't think Hermes would be interested in
Yeah.
playing
That's
a part
cool.
in this.
Okay, some new Nike bands. Oh, okay. That's not bad.
I quite like the look of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Each band is unique. Okay. Oh, I like that. Okay.
Why? They've added the like tab on the end.
I really like the look
I
of
like
the
that,
rubber
yeah.
kind of one.
That's cool.
That's also
Oh,
a really
okay.
cool watch face.
Okay. Press
They've
screenshot.
really just shown nothing, haven't they?
HomePod
But-
integration 2000. Okay, so I guess
Yeah,
it's
the-
2000 nits. That's one of the big features.
Yeah.
Fast charging, that was already there. Precision finding for iPhone, I guess that's also new. And yeah, that's
HomePod.
basically
On-device Siri is quite impressive.
The most impressive stuff is off the device. It's well, not most impressive, but the long talk about his stuff is like the bands and stuff like that.
Yeah, which anyone can get, by the way, for any previous Apple Watch model, including the very first Apple Watch. You don't need to have the Series 9 for that.
Especially when you got the 8 and 7. They'll
Exactly,
work
yeah.
perfectly, like without any
So-
worry whatsoever.
You know, I'm good with my Series 7. Unless
Here
the
we
Apple Watch
go.
Ultra.
Shows it in black.
Right, let's see. I'm actually very curious what they're gonna call this thing. Ultra 2, Ultra 2nd Gen, or just Ultra?
Series.
Ultra Series
Ultra
2?
Series 2 is a bit of a
But then that's
mouthful.
Ultra 2, there we go, Ultra 2. Interesting.
And it's not black yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like they would have shown black immediately.
God, this... What are they adding to this? The ultra wideband chip?
I guess the same things as the Series 9. Maybe something else too.
It's not a chip, it's a sip.
Sip, yeah, it's a sip. I do like the locations they film in.
Yeah. I was thinking it looks a bit more hardy, a bit wetter weather.
Okay, that's cool. You can use Siri when you have no connectivity.
Oh, cars. Yeah, same as the other one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's all just the same.
A new display architecture.
Is that a new watch face?
Oh, 3,000 nits. Wow. Okay.
Jeez
So it's
Louise.
even brighter.
That's very
Wow. Okay. Oh man. Okay, that's impressive. Modular rotary. Okay.
Yeah,
That's quite the.
I like that.
it looks pretty cool.
To be honest, I
Quite
do
the
like
visual.
This is like
Clutter.
a Pip-Boy
Yeah.
Fallout or something.
the watch face that I use. I don't know if you guys can see this, but what was the name?
There's so many data forms.
Infograph.
There's like dials. There's
Yeah.
so many versions of it.
I kind of like it though. Great for camping.
Yeah, so if anything, WatchOS 10 is probably the biggest feature in terms of these new Apple Watches, which again, all the previous models can also run them. Sorry, all the previous watch models from the Series 6, I think, they can watch, they
it
can
a
run.
Series?
No, sorry, Series 4.
Yeah, I think it's the
Yeah,
4,
Series 4.
including the SEs. I assume this is on the Ultra 1.
Yes, it
With
is.
the
So I'm
update.
assuming that gets a software update.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
Does
we
it
want
not
to
come
see
in
the new
black?
color.
Does it not come in
Where's the new
black at
color?
all?
Oh, it's back to Jeff though. It's back to Jeff. You might.
To the peak. To the peak. Okay, here's one. Is it grey?
It's hard to see. It looked grey before.
The same gray battery life. Oh. I was expecting some improvements. Wait, I think that's actually better, 72 hours. I think it was 60.
I think it's the same, because he was mentioning it's the same. I think if it was more, they would have
Pretty
made
sure it
a
was
deal of it.
60. We'll export that in our video.
Okay.
Okay, 95% recycled titanium, so it's not as recycled as the Series 9 is.
A lot of environment talk in this one. It's going to trigger the gammons, this one is.
Okay.
The ocean band must be too rubbery.
Yeah, I think it is, yeah. Okay. New colors, okay.
I do want an Apple Watch Ultra.
Wait, no black? Really?
The modular face is a bit different there and there.
I should
Yeah.
modify.
Oh, really? Come on.
It's going to be a bright flashlight at 3,000
Flashlight
nits.
boost.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Wow,
I'm surprised if it doesn't come in black. I'm honestly surprised.
that's even less of an upgrade than the Series 9.
Yeah.
Oh well, I mean, I don't think anyone was really...
Oh.
Wait. That is the black. That is darker.
No,
right?
it's not. That's definitely not. No.
That looks
Definitely
darker.
the lighting.
No black.
Okay, that's a shocker.
No black.
Because the black color got leaked quite heavily.
Did it get leaked or did it
I
get
mean,
kind of suggested?
rumored.
Yeah.
Not necessarily leaked, but it was something that Mark Gurman was also saying.
They're even getting pushed for. Yeah.
There's no way the price is higher on any of these. Yeah, no, they're all the same.
Okay,
Yeah.
same prices. Today, okay. September
As predicted,
22nd,
yeah.
okay. 21st, 22nd, okay.
Wow, that was quite the just not really much of anything. I'm
Interesting that you can
surprised.
pre-order them today.
Yeah, I suppose it's just kind
I
of
wonder
like,
if the same applies to the
knock
iPhones.
yourself out.
Yeah.
I think the iPhones might be later because of their demand. I think
Yeah.
they're probably quite aware that
Apple
the
Watch
demand
Ultra's
for
too
the Apple Watches
expensive.
is a bit low.
Where is the new color?
Is it cheaper? I don't think it's cheaper, is it?
It's the same price, same price. Okay, iPhone X, so there is no black with the Apple Watch Ultra.
35 minutes up until this point.
So the iPhone's gonna be longer.
You'd think.
I would say so.
Well, the Apple Watch wasn't 35 minutes though. It was everything.
That's
was
true.
35
It was
minutes,
the
including
eco,
all the
yeah.
environment stuff.
On the tram the other day, I actually saw someone with a black Apple Watch Ultra. So they must have done it
Oh,
themselves.
interesting.
And it looked, it did look pretty nice. No case. I almost went to start a
Maybe a custom
conversation.
job. Yeah.
I don't think it. Surely they would spray painting their own Apple Watch.
Well, you can like, anodize it, I think.
Yeah, if you've got like a chemical.
What's this? They're showing something. I don't know what this
The
is.
15 camera module.
That doesn't. Oh well, there's 3 bumps. Here we go.
Oh, look at.
Okay.
Oh, it's the
era
pink.
pink.
It's the pink.
It's the pink.
It's the Barbie edition.
It's the pink, which we have.
And that yellow.
And the
Oh,
yellow.
hold on.
There's
What
a
colors?
green.
Oh,
There's
the blue
a
looks
green.
nicer.
The black is actually black.
Is it?
It doesn't
is.
look midnight, which I
Awesome.
quite like.
Okay.
There's a green.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
just wish it was 90 hertz.
I'm happy that the colors look better than the dummies that we have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They always do, to be fair. Oh, look, Owen, where is it?
San Francisco, maybe.
It
I
has to be.
think it is. Yeah.
Oh, lovely.
Okay. They're still very, very pastel. Man, I love that black.
I like
Wow.
the green.
I like all of them. It's just 60 hertz.
I got all the leaks on this one.
Wait, do they have a frosted glass back?
Yeah, I think that was one of the leaks initially. To
It
be
was,
checked, though.
but then-
it doesn't look frosted
I
from
didn't
what I
look
saw.
at it in the preview, yeah.
Yeah, this is a new, the Dynamic Islands, but what's good about it is that more developers will start adopting the Dynamic Island since, you know, all models will now have it.
What do you think of Dynamic Island almost a year after using it?
It's alright, and more apps have started using it, but it's still not.
Would you
Not
say
overly
it's like a
used.
killer feature though? Are you glad to have it? Or could you just...
I think it's useful in cases where you're tracking an Uber, because you can see exactly how much you have left, but again, this can also be tracked on the always on display.
Live activities, isn't it? On the lock
Yeah,
screen.
but instead of like swiping
Yeah.
down your notification tray if you're already on your phone.
I think that's the problem, is you have to have the phone on to see what the Dynamic Island is showing. So if you want something that's giving you live updates, you have to unlock the
That's-
phone.
Okay, so
That's for this one as well.
the 15 now gets the same 2000 nits. Okay, so the 15 gets the same display as the 14 Pro from last year,
Oh,
which
in
is
every way.
awesome because that was such a good display. Which means that I think the Pro models will now get an even better display.
But it's not
They can't do
120
3000
hertz
nits,
It's
display,
not
they?
120 hertz.
but it is everything but.
Exactly.
Do you reckon that software locked out?
Part of me
I
thinks
don't know.
that, you know.
Maybe.
Because
maybe.
from manufacturing, you'd think they just use the same displays.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, it's got a frosted glass back. Yeah.
Has it?
I think
can't
so.
It looks glossy on the camera bump,
I
which
think
tells
it is
me it's
frosted.
frosted, yeah.
There we go. It is frosted.
Oh,
That's what I was...
isn't it?
I'm so glad, because that is just
Oh,
a
okay.
nicer premium touch.
Oh, interesting. It's
Color
kind of-
infused glass.
the line between the pros and the regulars is like there's a smaller gap than ever then.
I think that's what was needed, because these phones are
Oh,
good
those
phones.
look nice. Okay, I like those colors. The green looks awesome. I love
Black
that
is
green.
quite.
I do like
And
it. I
the
really
black
like the
is-
black.
Proper black.
It's got the matte sides there.
Ah,
as
that's so
well.
good.
Oh, no more silver Apple logo. Oh my god.
Okay.
Okay, I like this. Honestly, I like this.
Interesting.
I've always liked the normal iPhones. Like when I had the iPhone 13 before I got this one, I was happy with it until I really wanted a big upgrade.
Ceramic shields. Okay. So
Matte
it's,
back and matte sides.
yeah, that's
That's a first.
awesome. I just hope the Pro models also have a matte frame, matte titanium frame.
That's strange.
Okay.
That's a strange claim. I don't think that's true either.
Our phones
For the
are
iPhones,
worth
it is.
more.
Yeah.
Is it though?
Yeah.
Because Samsung's trading deals are a lot better than anything you'll get for an iPhone.
That's
Trade
the
it-
thing.
That's true. Trading deals, yes.
That's what I was going to say
Because
earlier.
I want an iPhone, yet buying them
It's not worth
second
it.
hand is noticeably cheaper than anything else.
Yeah.
75% recycled aluminium. This is pretty impressive. I don't know if you've digged into the whole, you know, cobalt mining stuff.
Yeah, it's not a great situation.
Yeah, it's not a.
Impressive that it can be fully recycled, yeah.
Okay, camera. Let's see if this is the same one as from the 14 Pros, or if this is indeed that new sensor that got leaked, which would be an inferior sensor, but with the same 48 megapixel resolution.
I really like the matte on matte
I love that. Yeah,
sides.
that's beautiful.
That's going to be very popular.
Yeah. Here we go.
We're bringing an amazing.
Is it the 48 megapixel?
Hold on.
Oh god, anyone got the numbers?
F1.6 2 micron quad pixels.
I don't think it is because
I don't think it's the same sensor.
Pixels are too small.
Yeah, I don't think it's the same sensor. Oh, and you can also take a 40 megapixel photo. Oh, okay, awesome. Okay.
So it seems. At
So
least.
it
I
seems.
mean-
I don't think it's pro raw, but it seems like you can take a 48 megapixel.
So just raw instead of pro raw?
That photo looked awesome on the stream, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay, pixel binning.
As we heard last year.
This isn't the same. I don't know. I someone Google.
Okay, let me have a.
I mean, what we're
Wait,
learning.
24
That's
megapixels.
good. So is that now
So-
their standard? 24 megapixels for photos?
That would
Storing
be
and
interesting.
sharing. Okay.
Instead of 12, as it's always been. That would...
But then you couldn't do that on any of the other cameras.
No, you couldn't.
That would be interesting for someone to do that though.
Okay, so the 2XL photo is indeed an option.
Oh yeah, exactly what you'd expect.
Yeah.
5.5 to 1 and then 2x. Yeah.
Okay, so from what I'm seeing, I think it's not the same sensor. Because what the leaks were saying is that this is a newer sensor than the 14 Pro that will enable some extra features. And I think that extra feature is that 24 megapixel option, which realistically, I also think the Pro models will be getting. But yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's cool.
So some improvements to portrait mode, which is
Yeah, the pixels are
Great.
smaller.
already smaller. Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Mm-hmm.
1.22 before binning.
And 244.
I think that
Okay.
was
Yeah.
one.
Okay.
I don't
It
know.
was. Yeah, it was one. Yeah. Okay.
It's definitely
so
different. Yeah.
We've just confirmed that it is indeed an inferior sensor on the 15 models.
Cheeky.
Same resolution, but it is a different sensor. A smaller.
I mean, look at that photo.
That's beautiful. Like this is coming through the stream, and it looks awesome. That's the thing.
You can just... I like that. Instead of having to swipe over
Oh,
and
interesting.
calibrate, you just press the f-stop in the corner.
That's better. I mean, it is a software thing, but I do like it.
Now isn't that a cute dog?
Let's see.
Let's see what... Okay.
Yeah, this isn't new. Some phones already have this. I think you can do it on a Pixel, and I'm pretty sure you can do it on Samsung phones too.
Yeah, on Samsung you can add it in post too. You
Yeah.
can take a photo and then add it a week later in portrait mode and stuff. It's
Yeah, I thought you
similar
could do that
ideas
with-
but approached differently.
I mean, I'm surprised by how good this image looks. Like even the colors are very good. There's no noise. Now,
they
obviously, these are controlled and
They
handpicked.
wouldn't
is
show
a-
anything but, would they though?
Yeah.
But
I mean, that one
these
was
are
at night.
so good. Like wow, this is nuts.
Is that even a portrait shot?
If it is, it's very subtle.
It's awesome. Wow.
The thing is that that big sensor
Now
will
that looks
surely
more like
increase
a
the depth
photo.
of field, but these photos don't seem to have much depth of field.
Grippers.
I'm not sure. We'll find out.
I mean, I
when we
gotta
get
say,
there.
so far the updates to the 15s are actually better than what we expected.
What do you think
Yeah.
of those bezels? Do you think...
But does that mean the price is going up? Maybe. Because these are actually alright to be
The
fair.
bezels do look a bit thicker than the 14 Pros.
I just noticed that there, they looked a bit on the thicker side.
The 60 hertz limitation is a glaring
Mode, 40
exception
megapixel
now, isn't
camera,
it?
ultra
There's-
camera, portrait lighting. Okay.
It does so much right.
I know, and it looks
That
looks
black
nice
is
too.
awesome. Matte sides, matte back.
That's true space black, isn't it?
That's awesome, yeah.
Matte sides. Yeah, just full blackout.
Like imagine that as your little travel camera instead of like taking your Pro with you.
What, I have 2 phones? I'm going to take the non-Pro.
The one that you don't care about if you know, expenses cover it.
So yeah, as rumored, this is getting the A16 chip from last year, from the 14 Pros. So at the end of the day, this is an iPhone 14 Pro, but without a lot of the features that the 14 Pro has. So again, I would still suggest the 14 Pro. Yeah, so it's interesting that, you know, back in the day, we used to get the same chips on all iPhones, but now it seems like Apple is giving the standard models last year's chip and then giving the Pro models this year's, the brand new chip.
I don't hate that approach, to be honest.
There's just certain things they aren't willing to port over, are they? It's like there's exceptions, which is seemingly parts of the display and the chip and parts of the camera.
Mario Kart is not very fun to play on the iPhone, from my experience so far.
Most mobile games aren't very fun to play, are they? Not known for their ease of input.
I'm honestly curious how the battery life will be on the 15s because, like we talked about before, the battery life on the 14 Pros was really bad. You know, we also had the always-on display, which we don't have on the 15s.
They didn't show the USB-C.
Not yet, at least.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be a thing that they show at the end with both models. Oh man, that black looks so awesome.
I do really like it.
Stealthy.
So much better
awesome
than the Midnight.
look, yeah.
So much better than the Midnight that they used to have.
Yeah, it's funny how they kind of got rid of all the black and white and then brought back just the, I can't remember what they brought back. I think they brought back the silver. And now they've like gone full, real nice.
Okay, so it's also getting the new U2 chip. Okay, and you can look, okay, so there we go. The advantage is that with the U2 chip, you can locate them with precision finding up to 3 times, at a 3-time greater distance, which is pretty good, yeah.
70 foot, yeah,
Wow.
that is a long way away.
So
That's really good.
Oh, hold on. Is that a Pro? Because the bezels are really thin on that. I'm trying to look. No, it is
I think
the
it's just the Plus. I think it's
The
Plus.
bezels look very thin on that.
The Plus makes it look
I
good.
wonder if that's an error on their end, that maybe they filmed it with a Pro and showed the back of. I don't know.
Maybe the bezel difference isn't as big as we might be expecting, given that we've just been fooled by that. But
I do think that's a really good feature,
Yeah.
that precision finding for, you know,
It is good, yeah.
it's accessibility if someone can't see very far.
And I think this confirms that there's going to be some new AirTags coming soon, because the AirTags are still running on the original U1.
that's true, yeah.
So they've got like voice isolation in
But
the
that's
calls.
So that's actually not new. You can do this in. I think they
Like
added this in
that
iOS
transition.
15.
Yeah, that
That
was
was good.
that's up there with the best, yeah. Oh god, is this going to be a yearly occurrence?
Are they improving SOS? Oh, I didn't know you could do this. Update your
The
location.
friends thing. That's a nice
Yeah.
touch.
To
I'd
be
be more
fair-
interested in that.
Yeah, the Shetland Islands in Scotland do have like no signal at all.
Make sure. Yeah, my sister went to the Faroe Islands and she was saying it was like barren.
Yeah, you have to use maps to get around.
There's people there, but not many of them and stuff like that. Yeah.
Roadside assistance via satellite. Okay.
Roadside. How do they?
So, like, if you have an issue with your car, I'm assuming you can get flat tire. Okay. You can get some sort of assistance.
That's when you've got no signal though. So it's just it's with the satellites.
But who are you giving the information to?
I don't know.
I think it helps like separate the information for
Yeah.
their call centers, so that some of it's more emergency than others.
Do you have breakdown cover in America? Is that a thing?
Yeah, I mean,
Oh.
but you don't have.
Apparently you do. Yeah.
Oh, it goes straight to someone else. Oh, it only works with this specific.
Yeah. For non-members,
Oh,
okay.
interesting.
So they will tow your car if it breaks down.
But only. Yeah, you'll have to pay them, I reckon. If you
Yeah,
aren't
yeah,
covered
yeah.
by them, you have to pay them separately.
Like I said, Owen, it's
Interesting.
basically splitting the information. Instead of calling the emergency services, 2 years free. Again, they're
We
saying
still
that.
don't know how much it's
Yeah,
going to cost.
that's right.
They're hiding it until
All
people
this
need
time
it.
later.
Wire. There we go. USB Type C. Okay.
Here we go.
There we go. This is it. This is it, guys.
Universally accepted
USB-C. Okay. There we go.
With a braided cable.
The braided cable.
But not a green one. The white one. Oh, don't start
Obviously,
pitching
they're gonna-
USB-C like
yeah.
it's a big new thing.
There you go. Second.
There it is.
I think that's the only showtime that the AirPods Pros are gonna get.
This is the Apple world learning how the rest of the world has been
Yeah.
living for the past like 7 years.
Oh, USB-C AirPods. Okay.
Mad.
If
By the way,
really-
Apple still says, sorry, earpods, not AirPods.
I still saw people using them. Some
Yeah.
people swear by them, I think.
Someone just commented saying all the lightning cables in the landfill.
Well,
It's quite a funny
true enough,
point.
but it's better to use USB-C than Lightning now, though, isn't it? If not now, then
In
when?
the long term, yeah. Maybe they should offer a
Okay,
recycling
Qi2
service.
wireless charging is also here, which we did mention.
Yellow is quite nice, actually, with the frosting
Yeah.
and such. What colour are we going to get for the iPhone 15?
I'm thinking maybe the green.
I like the green. Okay,
Yeah, the green's awesome.
Sorry, no vote for you, mate. Is that not? Oh,
So that's the fine woven.
there's a woven AirTag case.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I noticed as well. They say fine
It
woven.
looks like leather. I can't quite tell.
Okay,
It looks
2000
so
minutes.
good though. Can we get two?
I think we have to get it in black as well.
Oh, actually, sorry, we have to get it black.
Yeah, I think the black might be required.
Yeah, so the USB-C cable is not color matched from the looks of it. At
I
least
wonder if
not
that'll
from
be the Pro.
It wasn't on any of the.
I don't think they're
press
going to
images.
separate those.
A few people mentioning that the AAA people aren't very good. This is interesting to
Oh.
learn.
What do you mean by AAA?
The recovery company for the roadside
Right, okay,
assistance.
right.
Because in the UK, obviously the UK is so much smaller. I think most of them are pretty good, but the US is so big. I don't know.
Oh, just realized they haven't said anything about the curved corners.
They did. They called it a contoured edge.
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
Okay,
And that was it.
that was it. Okay.
I don't think it's much of a redesign.
If this pink phone came out right before Barbie, imagine the sales it would have had.
It's a lovely shade of pink, isn't it?
Okay, so the bezels, I think they're thicker, just by looking at that, and then also looking at. Let me just bring my 14 Pro. I would say they're thicker, based on that.
But they're not thicker on the current 15s.
Or hold on, maybe not.
They're the same thickness on the current ones as they are on the Pro anyway.
What do you think of that?
They
It
can't,
does
be,
look
Same
thinner
price as
than
before,
mine.
128.
they can't be any thicker because the current 15 regulars have as thin bezels as the Pros. It's just the dynamic island that separates them now.
Up to $800 off. Okay.
That, to
Do
be
you
fair,
have to trade in a
US.
14 Pro Max or what? For that.
Oh, okay.
the iPhone 15 is looking fairly decent.
Yeah. I love that it's USB-C. That's my favorite feature, honestly.
Yeah,
48
so long
megapixel
overdue.
cameras are
Wait,
real
wait.
big.
When do you get to order this? I didn't get that.
They'll do that after the iPhone 15 Pro. I reckon.
Right.
They'll do them both at the same time. Go on, Tim. Turn the lights off. Make it dark.
For the Pro models.
Well, this is the biggest version of it. And then they'll jump to the dark room with what's his face in it, with the glasses.
This is the biggest proest phone you've ever seen.
The proest phone. A proest phone, yes, yeah.
Yeah.
It weighs only Apple can. Okay. Okay. He's definitely hyping these up. I'm hoping that the
There's the
improvements are
titanium.
bigger than we
The
think.
titanium is quite the marketing push for him, isn't it? Even though
Yeah.
realistically it's going to make no difference to your
I mean, it is the
use
first
case.
phone, right, on the market with a titanium frame. As far as I'm aware, it is the only one.
Yeah.
Did they patent the way they color their titanium?
There you
as
go.
Well?
I hope it'll be the only phone because it's
Ooh,
not
oh,
very necessary.
oh, it is brushed.
thing.
Nice.
It depends how much it costs, I guess.
Okay. I
It's
like
a
that.
nice in between.
Action
where it's
button.
Reflective.
Oh wait, the bezels are not thinner?
They didn't look at there.
No.
Do you see the periscope?
The new gray.
He's separating Pro and Pro Max here.
Yeah, there's your,
okay.
You want an hour and a half event? That's how they give it to you. Yes, look, it's getting dark. Classic. As is tradition. Turn the lights out. Yeah, here we go. And now everything just looks like CGI.
Because you don't see a periscope there, do you?
No.
Those bezels didn't look thinner.
Or most advanced
There you go.
silicone, okay.
Check the box.
The titanium just feels like a change for the sake of a change. I don't really. It does look nice, but
I mean,
the stainless does.
the thing
too.
is they have been looking into titanium for many years now.
I like it. I like it. And I
Yeah.
hated the fingerprint
That's a
magnet
lot.
mess.
Yeah, but that wasn't exclusive to steel. That was just because they decided to make it polished. That could have been aluminium and it would have been the same. Because the rest of the
They've got
world
aluminium
isn't
for other
using
things,
stainless
don't they?
steel and doesn't have this problem.
Oh, there we go. The thinnest
Borders.
bezels. They call
Borders.
them borders. Oh,
Is it just me or do they not look
they look
very
the same.
thin?
They might look thinner in person.
It is the guy with the glasses.
Yeah, Josriak. The toughest glass-based materials, okay. Oh, they are thinner. Yeah, yeah.
That's a lot, yeah.
Oh yeah, okay. Definitely noticeable on the bigger one.
15 Pro Max, okay.
Oh, there's your wallpaper, the S that was leaked.
Yeah, that's better. That, you know, it's got a titanium texture.
That grey color is quite nice as
That's
well.
the Apple Watch
Yeah.
Ultra color, isn't it?
It
Yeah.
is, yeah, yeah.
Didn't even see the action button because I feel like they've had the shots that way.
Yeah, the Pro Max is having its own section, isn't it?
I think so,
100%.
yeah.
The iPhone Ultra.
I mean, they already said 15 Pro Max, so
Yeah.
sadly.
I really
Grade
hope
5
that
titanium.
Samsung doesn't follow this. Yeah, the aluminium
Uh-huh.
is just better in terms of like.
So it's,
Day-to-day.
it's a titanium alloy, so it's not pure titanium. It's got some other composites in it. But apparently it's more durable than pure titanium. Yeah, there you go. So it's got aluminium inside of it too.
Oh, okay. So it's like a hybrid, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, of course, it's aluminium on the inside still. Yeah, cause of, yeah.
Yeah, so I do like this brush texture. It does look a tiny bit different to the Apple Watch Ultra, just ever so slightly.
The Apple
Yeah.
Watch Ultra is just matte, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not brushed over.
Yeah.
Okay. Right, so we got
It's quite the grayscale palette, isn't it?
Yeah.
Can you even tell the difference between
Black
these
titanium.
two? There's no difference.
No black bezel
Look
for
at
the grey.
Look at number 2 and number 4.
they look the same, yeah.
Am I missing a trick? That image is gonna get tweeted. Like, whoa, don't get too colourful in here. I wonder how noticeable the brushed is in the hand.
Yeah.
If at all, it might be too subtle.
There you go.
Bye-bye.
Action buttons time.
I suppose, yeah, they're getting the stuff out of the way that's not exclusive to the Pro Max. And then probably camera will pivot to that.
Okay, the buttons are actually different.
It's called the action button. Of course it is.
Yeah. Compared to the dummy units, slightly.
And does it work via haptics?
Let's see.
Nah.
Press and hold for silent. Haptic feedback. Okay.
Called that.
But the button
We
does
have
recess.
demonstrations of that for a long time ago. Knew it.
This has been on my list for like 10 years. Quickly launching the camera on an iPhone. Oh,
Wow,
that's nice.
that looks-
Wow, the animation.
Yeah, premium.
This is cool, so you can have Siri shortcuts.
I think this is just a straight win. This,
100%, yeah.
So it seems like it works. Long press is always the mute switch. Short
yeah,
press
exactly.
is
Whatever you want.
whatever you want it to be.
Yeah.
Which
Makes
makes
sense.
sense, yeah.
I wonder if you can also double tap it.
It's not going to be as
double press.
satisfying as the mute switch, but it is what it is.
Okay, some display updates.
Imagine
And
running
I'm
240
thinking this is going to
hertz.
go to 3000 nits. I know it's nuts, but
3,000.
that'll be my guess. Has to be more than 2000 because the 15 got 3000.
500?
Yeah.
On the safe side, probably 25.
3,000 would
But
be
I wouldn't be surprised if
insane.
it's 3000.
Someone's commented, well, no SIM, so I can't have it. And this is a good point if you're in America because it's only eSIM there, whereas
Yeah.
in Europe it's
Great
a bit
big middle
different.
finger to the Americans, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is an iOS 17 feature that they're showing right now. The fact that you can turn it into a
Standby
digital
mode?
clock. Yeah,
I don't think the display is any brighter.
maybe not.
They've already moved on.
Right. Okay.
Oh, it's got Pro in the name
Oh,
now.
A17 Pro. Wait, that's strange.
The A17 only exists in one
Oh,
form, and it's the
I
Pro
know why.
form.
Because next year, I don't know if you remember, next year Apple's rumored to have two versions of the A17 chip. There was a leak like maybe 6 months ago, a really old leak saying that next year they're gonna change the manufacturing for the A17, so they're gonna have a weaker chip. So that means the 16s next year are getting the A17 standard.
Oh, that's interesting. They're kind of getting ahead of themselves there.
Exactly.
Because
Yeah.
the 15 Pro will remain ahead of the 16 regular.
Right.
It's quite the 4D chess from Apple's
Yeah, exactly.
marketing
Damn.
business here. Yeah, fair enough.
Mm-hmm. 19 billion transistors.
Give us the graphs. I want to see the graphs because we know it's coming.
Only 10%?
It's quite, yeah. I'm surprised they delivered it like that because it doesn't sound like much, does it? A huge 10%.
Challenging even high-end PCs. Okay. Okay, so the efficiency cores are 3 times faster based on the same wattage.
Versus
Yeah.
competition.
It's all about efficiency. It looks like they're trying to keep the speeds a bit similar.
I just want to see better battery life.
The thing is, they said all this
Yeah.
about the 14 Pro. This has all been said before. Just obviously with higher numbers this time.
Yeah.
But efficiency was always a focus of the last one. I mean, yeah, the product will speak for itself, won't it? There's new AirPods Pro case. Not necessarily new AirPods Pro. But yeah, USB-C case confirmed.
It sounds
A
like it needs
ProRes
to
codec.
cough.
Okay.
just like a.
You notice everything is tinted yellow in these screens, other than the white text.
to make it look gold.
Yeah, it's
Something like
titanium.
premium.
Don't you forget. Don't you dare forget. We're using titanium now.
Okay, give us Thunderbolt speeds, please.
The mad part is no one even.
New USB controller, there you go. Wait,
Oh,
10 gigs per second? Okay. Okay, that's a bit underwhelming. So it's the same speeds as the iPad Air. Or let me
yeah.
quickly do the math.
An optional cable, so it doesn't come in the box. Not that
It's
surprisingly.
20 times faster. Oh, it literally said there.
Yeah, there you
I
are.
just quickly got it. 20 times faster than the A15, the iPhone 15s. Okay.
What are people doing on an iPhone that requires a pro GPU?
Odds on a game developer going up.
Very likely.
That would be amazing if they try and.
And when I say
Dude.
game developer, I mean mobile game
Mobile game
developer. So no one knows who they are.
But imagine if they actually did do a AAA game on the iPhone.
Like playing on the Steam Deck, wouldn't it? Pretty shocking.
I mean, they are getting to a point where they are capable.
I mean, you could say
Apple
the same with the Mac,
designs
and ain't no one showing up to
shader
develop games for
architecture.
that.
Ray tracing, okay.
Oh, it's like the blooming AMD chip from Samsung. it's just so far gone from reality, these things. They just have so little base in reality, yet they talk about it in such a different way.
Okay,
Is
let's
this
activate
an
ray
image
tracing.
generated?
I remember Samsung literally doing this exact thing in a space scene.
Oh, okay, that's pretty good.
It's very simple ray
That looks like a
tracing, but
PS4 game, I would
it's-
say.
it's a good
Which
job.
is good.
Yeah, looks nice.
Oh wow. So, okay, so
Smoothly,
this is where you
30
can see
FPS.
A16 got like 8 FPS compared to 30 on,
What game is this?
I don't know.
I don't think it is a game. I think it's a
I think it's a
It's
demo.
a tech
yeah.
demo.
Yeah, I mean,
I guess if you play a lot of mobile games, I don't, but if you do, and you also like playing high-end games, then sure, it's a big upgrade,
assuming they support ray tracing.
assuming they support ray tracing.
Because if they don't, you're probably not going to be any worse off.
Check.
Yeah, there it is.
Okay, let's see some games. If, I mean, if
You
anything,
shan't see any games.
it would be the perfect time to bring Fortnite back to iOS.
That would be amazing if they did.
Yeah. This is League of Legends Mobile, right?
Someone said Apple playing the long game. This is beta testing for their VR. Not a bad point, but that is the
chip in VR
M2
is already
chip.
more powerful than this. This isn't even close to the chip in the VR.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the M2 is more powerful.
That was
It's only the software that.
the Belgian track in F1, I think.
There is a big audience for Apple Arcade, to be fair.
Well, there's a massive audience for mobile gaming, isn't it? It's the biggest market of them all.
A new generation mobile gaming, okay.
I'm gonna lay a significant level of doubt on that claim.
Thanks to the super chat from Buddy305Love. The A17 can challenge high-end PCs, but cannot run Starfield.
Wow.
Wait, what?
This is.
This is the mobile version of the Division.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow,
Why is he?
It
that
looks
looks
pretty good.
really good for a mobile game.
Yeah. I
This
mean,
is proper, I would say,
that person wasn't holding a gun in their hand in
Yeah.
that shot.
Yeah.
There was a glitch there.
I mean, it looks about as good as the Division ever did on the Xbox One.
I don't know what game this is. Honkai Star Rail.
There you go, Genshin
Genshin
Impact.
okay, a popular game.
Which
Not
is
the
has
greatest
look-
ray tracing example, but it's always looked good.
一个丰富的环境细节展现给玩家。我该走了。
Yeah, I'm not into mobile gaming at all.
Games like Resident Evil Village.
There's
Oh,
no
Resident Evil
way
Village,
that's
really?
coming to the. What?
Wait, what? Okay.
That is insane.
There you go.
Okay.
There's your example.
Wow,
isn't
okay.
it?
There you go.
Wow.
Ooh, that looks good.
Mobile gaming.
I mean, it's on such a small display that even at 720p it'll look good.
I think it is probably running at a very low
I
resolution.
think I'd probably
Okay.
burn my eyes out trying to play a game like that on a 6-inch screen.
Yeah.
But,
It's still
it's
impressive.
I mean, if you're just a casual gamer,
Yeah, it's interesting that someone who doesn't have any console at all can now access a game like that.
The problem is, it is touchscreen
God.
gameplay, which is just.
Yeah,
Horrible.
yeah,
That's
I mean,
also
you
look
could
at
connect a controller,
textures
but
there.
you also need something to prop it up.
Unless you get a backbone.
The problem
Yeah.
with mobile gaming has never been its graphics, it's its input.
Yeah, exactly. Input and size. But that's impressive. The fact that you can run Resident Evil Village on
I
an
can
iPhone.
see
The
I can see
resolution
yeah,
though, it's
it
not
is
really
low.
the correct
Dithering.
resolution at all.
Oh, wait, what?
Wow.
Assassin's Creed?
That is ridiculous.
No
Imagine what it's
way.
going to be like on Mac then.
This is a bizarre version of mobile gaming.
They've really went about this backwards. I expected them to do more Mac stuff first, and
The
then
camera. Okay.
I suppose,
Another super chat from What
yeah.
Thank You. So they caught up with a Sony PS2. A bit more than that. I would say probably PS4.
So basically,
But on a phone, that's really, really impressive.
I mean, the next Switch is supposed to be a PS4 comparative sort of device. So
yeah, but those power figures mean nothing in gaming, do they? Because it's all about optimization.
Seven. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Where's the 4 and the 5?
I'm
Well,
guessing
you got
it's talking
3 on
about
the
the
back,
zoom.
1 on the front. You get the extra 2x.
Oh,
So there's
it's quite the abstract way of
lenses
seeing
that-
it, but I see. Yeah, okay. Were we expecting any changes on the regulars?
No, not aside from the ultra wide and the telephoto. A more advanced. So it is a new sensor.
The numbers are the
Second
same.
gen shift.
That's just the
Even like the
stabilization.
Hang on
Oh,
a
then the iPhone
minute.
15. Hold on.
The numbers are the same there as 14
As
Pro.
last year, yeah. But he said a new sensor.
Yeah, but I think that might be some tricky wording.
Is it some tricky wording?
Because, yeah, like you say, then that you compared it against the 15 Pro.
And using
the
all
regular
pixels.
15. F number 1.78.
That does look really sharp, even on this live stream.
Interesting how he said HEIF instead of HIF. Okay, so they're switching to 24 megapixel as the default, which I'll take. I'm happy with that.
I'm happy. I'm grateful.
Yeah, I really hope this becomes much more common. Because I don't know why we're still sticking with 12 other than
Exactly,
storage
yeah.
space.
I mean,
It's
all
just for
phones use
social
12 now.
media, really.
If
But
you take an
we've moved
108
past that.
megapixel photo in good light, it's remarkable. Like, it's so good. It's the same, yeah, it's the same as the 14 Pro, same aperture, same everything.
Yeah. It's just weird the way they phrased it.
Very weird.
Whoa. I like that it's giving you the numbers for millimeters instead
Yeah, I
of
like
just
that.
1x, 2x, because I do like to play with lenses a bit more like that.
Yeah. Two times better low performance. He hasn't specifically said
It
against the
looks
14 Pro.
really dramatic.
That looks awesome. But again, these are handpicked. And,
I think
you know,
it's all against the 15,
I think so.
which they've downgraded intentionally.
Yeah.
12
which is
megapixels.
That's 12
interesting.
megapixels.
That must be really dark things. Look at the exposure time.
Why is this 112 and not
1600?
24?
Oh, yeah. But 1600 ISO, that's really impressive.
I mean, you can tell it looks a bit rougher, but it's
Yeah,
getting there.
I mean, they are alright to be fair.
A bit too
but,
yellow for my
You
taste.
can't do night mode portraits in the telephoto, which means it's a really rubbish portrait.
that,
Yeah.
that picture looked a lot more
Smart
iPhone than
HDR.
the
I
rest of them.
believe the Samsung ran.
Oh, finally, we get a new Smart HDR. Thank you, Apple. Because we already had, I mean, we've had Smart HDR, I think, 4 since the iPhone 12 or 11. Like, they haven't changed it since. Oh, they're not saying 12.7 megapixels.
Seems it's just 12.
Oh, Pro Max.
That looks like a really big lens.
There you go. Periscope module.
That's a funny looking one.
Longest optical.
5x, okay.
It's only 5.
5x.
Well,
120
better
mil
than
though.
nothing. You see, it's interesting.
Is it better than nothing though? Because the competition is just
F2.8
like
aperture.
what? It's only a 12 megapixel as well. Oh, that's such a disappointment.
100%.
It looks funny in the thing.
F2.8, that's a very small aperture. But Samsung has 4.9.
Well, a 10x.
Yeah.
I mean, you can get an interesting depth in photos like that.
Yeah, it's just good portrait shots.
Oh man, 5x.
I'm
It's
a
just-
bit disappointed by that.
I mean, 120 mil is a lot.
Well, someone else created.
Okay,
it,
so a new design. It does look different from the competition, I gotta say that. It doesn't seem to have that squared off design.
Yeah, it's like well, it's still a periscope though, isn't it? It's a funny looking thing.
But it looks a bit more unique.
I think the periscope is a bit more the cross and up, whereas this is like back and forthy. It'll be interesting to see.
Oh wow.
Wow, okay. I guess they need that because it's got the smallest aperture. So some amazing stabilization, which, you know, when you zoom in that much, you need to have very good stabilization. And since the aperture is so small, this would also make it better at low light.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see in the test that we do just how much of a difference there is. Mostly versus the 14 Pro. Curious about how much of a difference.
Okay, and you'll try which is not 13 megapixels like leaked.
No, I don't think.
But it
that's
is new
happening.
apparently.
Will he
Wait,
say,
f2.2 aperture? I'm pretty sure it was f1 point something, 1.8.
He said that it's got a new anti-reflective coating.
Wow, okay, that's a lot of zoom. Wow, okay. That's pretty good.
I can't believe it's only on the 15 Pro Max. It doesn't even look like it needed to be, but
Yeah.
I guess.
You know, it just
It's
means
shiny,
next
isn't
to
it?
it.
That titanium is quite shiny, even with its brushed thing.
Oh, this looks like the exact image that Unknown Z, I think 21 leaked.
He had an in-person image, didn't he?
Yeah. But it looked exactly this style
Same
with the
colour.
light in the middle.
With USB-C. You know, that was an
I mean-
issue people complained about.
If you're a professional photographer, I don't think you're gonna use an iPhone.
Not this again. Apple, please, you've been showing us this for years. Do you remember when Pro Raw came out? And it was like, yeah, we're still professional photographers, all use iPhones. That's all they ever use. It's just like...
Because the thing is, it's when you're a professional photographer, it's also about the image. If someone pays like £1,000 for a shooting session and they see you just shooting with an iPhone,
give me a
they'll
second
just
as he
walk
pulls
away.
it out of his pocket with 30% battery life on it, yeah.
4K 60?
I think
That's
Apple's idea of
cool.
what the world should look like is sometimes a little bit far-fetched.
I mean, I'm not saying that no one will use this,
But what?
but
But it's just not applicable to so many people
yeah.
that it's almost like you know it's marketing because it's just so far gone.
You just want to believe it.
Yeah. This looks so rubbish.
Strange shout out.
Just standing there looking at a panorama, this looks rubbish.
Oh.
Okay, so you need to have a 15 Pro.
That's
Ultra-wide and
equivalent
main
to-
camera together, okay.
So that's...
It's a 3D camera.
Yeah, so you need a 15 Pro.
Because the lens is being moved around, or...
I don't know, but it seems like you need a 15 Pro. I wonder if there's a toggle that you have to enable or if it just does it automatically. I think it's automatic.
I assume it would downgrade the quality of the video a bit because it's using a cropped ultra wide.
Yeah. Promotion, USB 3,
Wi-Fi 6E.
spatial video, all day battery life. They haven't said anything about battery life improvements. Wi-Fi 6E, there we go,
No
yeah.
mention of
It
memory.
says
as
all day
well.
battery life.
Yeah, no mention of memory.
When was the last time it didn't say that?
Yeah. I'm saying
Decade
quite
ago.
a generic. Yeah.
The action,
Action
button,
button.
is a nice touch.
And I like
Yeah.
the way they've done the software
No
look to
mention
it.
of battery life at all, actually. That's a good
Which
point.
is a bit...
And they're the same prices with the same
Oh,
128.
with the same-
Oh, okay.
Oh, so the Pro Max has jumped by $100.
Right,
But with
and
more
you get more
storage.
storage. Right, so maybe that's why the leaks were so back and forward because of this.
Yeah, you can see how everyone will be a bit confused by this. I do not like the beige.
They are pushing the trade in a bit more.
Yeah, but only in America.
This Friday,
unfortunately,
okay, Friday
yeah.
the 15th.
And they ship the
Okay.
week after? Yeah, all of them.
Hmm.
Well,
So
that
there's
makes
no
things a bit
delay,
easier.
okay.
That makes things a bit simpler.
Oh wow, okay. iCloud gets more storage.
It's a funny little announcement.
Okay.
Didn't really expect that one.
I mean, obviously it's more expensive, but at least you get those options.
Wildly expensive, I imagine, for the 12 terabytes.
And they're still not offering more free storage. It's still stuck at 5 gigs. So they're still gonna sell the 13 and the 14, and the SE, of course.
Yeah, I mean,
They have got a variety of options there.
there was a few things that I expected that we didn't actually get. All that confirmation of, oh, it will be 6x. No, actually, it's just going to be 5. 12
Low
megapixel
res,
sensors. are
5.
big. I'm assuming the Pixel 7 Pro's lens will be better.
I think
but we'll
so,
find out.
Yeah, which is underwhelming because I was hoping.
Surprisingly underwhelming. No claims on better battery life,
Yeah,
which it clearly needed. Yeah, I'm surprised, but I think the regulars look like a big upgrade by comparison.
I would say so. Yeah, they're bigger than what we expected, whereas the Pro models are
Less so.
exactly than what we expected. Unless the battery is better by maybe an hour or two.
Yeah, maybe it is. That's
Who
the
knows?
thing.
Maybe
isn't
it's a silent thing.
it? Oh, I forgot about the Ultra 2 even coming
Yeah.
out.
It's still no black.
Yeah, no brighter display on the Pros.
Yeah,
So far as the claims go, that surprises me.
because now they have the same display brightness, which was not the case before for the past few years. I guess they kind of, the new display feature, I guess, would be the new bezels in that case. So they still get something new display-wise.
The thinner borders, yeah.
Connor actually asked, does anyone else think the photo examples on the regular 15 looked better than the 15 Pro examples?
I would say so.
And
yeah.
I actually agree with that as well.
Yeah.
Pick better photos, yeah. Like your subject is more important.
A
than
lot
the
of
camera.
a lot of daylight shots for those.
Bright colours.
Yeah.
I was surprised by how good the cinematography is.
You
Like,
look
if
like
you
that
look
guy
at
in America who froze then. The video of the guy in America, the politician who freezes on camera.
Yeah, I was
Tim
gonna
stopped then, and it reminded me of that. Tim, you okay, mate?
Yeah. Well, Apple's dipping currently, but it always bounces around, I think, during a live stream.
Same old thing, innit? I mean, you know,
Okay, so
fair enough.
okay, it seems like that was pretty much it. Right, so in this case, we can probably bring up
Jump
the website.
over. Welcome
Welcome to the post-event talk. So
to Apple's website. Don't mind that. Don't mind that either. There we go.
that's the one.
And now we have to
So-
wait for it to update because it's a total mixed bag as to when it
Yeah,
updates.
so the website isn't updated yet, but we can have a chat. We can talk about the event, the announcements, and then we can go through the website, see if there's anything that catches our eye. And then obviously tomorrow and the day after and so on, we'll be doing quite a few videos talking about everything. So should we start with the Apple Watch?
Right, yes.
Yeah, the regular Apple Watch. I don't know. I mean, with the Apple Watch, I feel like we had the opportunity to say the little we had to say in the event. I don't really know if it's like a major push for people. Are they mad for it? I don't really know what. I'm not an Apple Watch user, so maybe I should be exempt from this conversation. To be fair,
Yeah.
you two back and forth.
Oh wow, we got 4,000 active viewers, so essentially 4 times since the live stream ended. So thank you for joining us, guys. We'll be talking about the post-event coverage, and we can answer some of your questions. We'll start by talking about the Apple Watch, and I think it might be a good idea to talk about the leaks and then what we actually got and see what ended up being different.
If you can remember what all the leaks were. I mean, the glaring exception, I know this isn't to do with the Apple Watch, but it was the iPhone stuff, the Pro stuff more specifically. There was very few leaks on the Apple Watches, and we kind of knew that, so that didn't surprise me.
One of the leaks was the new chip, which we did get, the S9, and the performance numbers are okay. I think they said about 30% faster CPU-wise and like 60% GPU-wise, something like that. But honestly, my Apple Watch, my Series 7 has been, really, really fast and fluid, so I haven't had any issues. Although maybe with WatchOS 10, because it's a whole redesign, maybe things will change a bit. But yeah, all in all, I think the S9 chip was pretty much as expected. Then we also got the band changes that were rumored. So the leather bands have been replaced by the new fine woven bands.
Yeah, and Apple, as we predicted, has no interest in using any leather at all anymore. That's all been replaced, yeah.
Yeah, and they have a strange texture. Like, I don't know if you've seen that from the event, but I don't know. Like, you know how leather is extremely smooth, but this texture felt a bit like velvet, at least from the images. It had that velvety texture to it. Or, sorry, suede. Maybe suede is probably...
Yeah, I thought that because it almost looked like textured leather, essentially. Yeah, with that kind of matte finish on it.
Exactly, yeah.
It's hard to tell, especially when they give it a name like fine woven.
Yeah.
That sounds like microfiber, if anything. So I'm not quite sure what the feeling will be, but it'll be interesting to see in person if it is what we imagine.
Like, I've used most of the Apple Watch bands that Apple sells over the years, and by far, the one that feels the best to my wrist and the one that doesn't irritate my wrist is the leather one. I only have one of those. But yeah, it's a shame that they won't be doing those anymore.
Yeah, I mean, if they want to have this sort of eco push, you know, it seems reasonable for them to not do it anymore.
Yeah.
I think it's both eco and simplicity, isn't it? Yeah.
I guess at the end of the day, if you just want to buy a leather Apple Watch band, you can
always
just buy a third-party one.
Yeah,
so.
I was going to say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think Apple are aware that they can recycle a lot of materials, but leather doesn't seem to be one of them. So as far as they're concerned, leather is no longer in their interests. I assume that when they get to the point of recycling things efficiently, it's cheaper. So the more stuff they can use recycled, metals, fibers, everything, they're probably going to push for that. And leather is just not really possible, I guess. So yeah, they're not really interested in pursuing that material long term.
In terms of new colors, we got, was it a new green for the Apple Watch?
Pink.
Or was it pink? Sorry, a new pink, which looks
I'll pull
decent.
up the Apple Watch.
Yeah,
I reckon
yeah.
it's
if you go
live
to the
now.
Apple Watch, and then we'll talk about the iPhone as
Store
well.
For some reason. Oh, the Apple Watch isn't live.
That's not live yet. Okay.
No, only the iPhone.
In the meantime, guys, if you have any questions for us regarding the Apple Watch, just leave them in the comments, and we'll be answering those and talking about those. Okay, so we got a new chip. We got the new bands. Interesting enough, we didn't really get any new band designs, like any new types of bands.
Yeah, they kind of
just in
kept them all the
textured
same.
ones.
Yeah. Let's see. Do we get
Blue.
anything?
Sorry, go on about the Apple Watch. I'll just browse this.
I was going to go on the website as well, but I also need to have the chat open to see your comments. Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised when it comes to the standard watch. I'm surprised that they haven't really said anything about a battery life. Like, I was hoping that with this new chip, which is apparently based on a 5nm process, they haven't talked about that, by the way, but at least according to the rumors, it should be. Yeah, I'm surprised that it doesn't really improve the battery life in any significant way. Maybe it's because this is also a faster chip with higher clock speeds, so like it is more efficient, but it's also more powerful. So it kind of balances itself out because of that.
Connor's also just mentioned that the Apple Watch Ultra price, the first Apple Watch Ultra, has gone down in the UK.
Oh,
And
okay.
if you're looking at a lot of retailers, they've all went down from £849
Interesting.
to £669.
It's $799 for the new one.
There we go. So if you want to buy a first gen Ultra right now, you can actually get it for significantly less, about £200, at least in the UK less, and probably in the US as well.
Yeah, and to be fair, I think you'd be a fool to buy the new one, really. Just
Very
the
little
difference
changes.
is so marginal. I think you'd
Yeah.
be so much better off with the first gen. I mean, the second gen is £50 cheaper in the UK. It seems like it's the same in the US based on what they said at the event. But at least it's not going up, which I think was probably the expectation. So that's good to see.
In terms of the Series 9, yeah, I mean, there's not much to it, really.
No, definitely not.
I do really like some of the bands. I think the Nike bands, some of them, you know, the ones that have the tag, those look awesome. And then also the ones that, did they give those a different name? Were they the Nike? The ones with the
These?
powder thingy? Yeah.
Yeah,
You
the
guys-
recycled sort of rubbery
Yeah, I
material.
think
Yeah.
they're like Nike's take on the rubber one with a bit
Oh,
more
yeah.
of a unique look to it.
I do love those as well. Okay, we're just on the Apple Watch page right now. It got updated. So if we go to the Series 9,
It kind of hasn't been updated.
Oh, sorry.
It's occasionally
has.
you'll just kind of bump into something that
Right.
has. As of now, I can't access the Series 9. thing, unless I maybe go on this.
So
Yeah,
is
so
that-
I can
okay.
jump to this, but I can't see
purchase
the
page.
overview page.
Right, well, let's have a look at a purchase page in that case.
It's the same kind of thing. Interesting, there's now a carbon neutral tag, which, yeah, again, makes sense with the kind of approach they want to take. Your usual aluminium and stainless steel in the colors that you've already seen.
I am curious if the bands are cheaper now for the Apple Watch, because you would assume that they would be since they're not using leather anymore, right? I don't think they are,
yeah.
but who knows?
In terms of very basic data, yeah, the oh, here you go, band, rubber, textile, and steel. Mm-hmm. So textile is now referring to an absolute ton of them. There's 5 different bands.
Wow.
The
So
magnetic link is 449. Is that just
Wait,
for
what?
the band?
wait, what?
Let's have it in that color.
That no, that's for
Oh,
the Apple Watch.
right, I was
You
gonna
can
say.
order.
I would be shocked. Like, there's no way.
Yeah, it's $50 then. Okay. Yeah, $50 for the magnetic link, which is definitely cheaper than the leather one. Mm-hmm. And $100 for the loop buckle even, which again I'm pretty certain is cheaper than the leather. It's microfiber.
It looks like that.
It's
Yeah.
just like a suede microfiber type thing.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
interesting
right.
that they've even added.
If you
carbon
can zoom in
neutral
on that a
band.
bit so that the audience can see that a bit better, just with a gesture.
Yeah, I don't
Or
think that's
like
going to
that,
work with OBS though.
Right.
No, not particularly. There you go.
There we go. There we go.
Yeah,
So
there
you
you
can
go.
kind of see the texture. Thank you to
that's what-
Fun Juno for the super chat. Thank you. Okay, a few more things to mention about the Apple Watch Ultra. I guess what was surprising was that we didn't get the black color, which was rumored heavily, and it also made sense. Like, we knew that Apple was testing that, and it also made sense for them to introduce a new color for the Ultra to push sales, but we didn't get that at all, which is a bit of a disappointment. And I guess the new display was a surprise.
On the Ultra.
And the Series
Yeah.
9, I would say. 2000 nits on the Series 9.
3000 seemed. I don't
Yeah,
know, 3000 almost
excessive.
seems just,
Yeah.
like 2000 was already so capable. I'm not sure what scenario 3000 is really going to be required, but I guess we'll maybe see.
Exactly.
We don't really, because of the way we test stuff, we don't really put the Apple Watches through their paces like we can the iPhones.
Yeah.
Because their use cases are more dependent on being out and about, being at places, and we don't travel everywhere for the sake of them.
Exactly, yeah.
So it will be interesting to see what other people who maybe have a better use case for these kind of things make of it.
Can we see the prices for the bands?
I'm trying to, there we go, now it's updated.
By the way, I know you guys have a lot of questions about the new iPhones. We'll talk about the iPhones as well in just a bit. We just want to get the Apple Watches out of the way because there's not a lot to talk about.
Which
when it comes to the
band
Apple
would you
Watches.
like to know about?
Essentially the leather ones, the old leather ones that are now
Oh,
updated.
$100
Oh,
pretty
right.
much across the board.
Okay, so the prices are literally the same as before.
Oh, interesting, they're cheaper to buy when you buy them with the watch. This was 49 and this was 99.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
so I don't know what the prices were before. Was it the
That's
same
same.
as them?
No, as in, kind of, before you would pay a fixed price and you would get that band that you select.
Yeah.
So the band would be free, so to say, but it comes with a watch.
And when you bought them separately, like we're looking at now, was it $99?
It was the same as,
149?
as those prices. yeah.
Right, okay.
So it doesn't seem like Apple dropped the prices for these new bands, unfortunately. And if we take a look at those Nike
The
ones,
Nike ones look fantastic.
those
I
look
really like
awesome.
this
I
look.
love that, yeah. It is a bit of a shame that you don't get the like one-tone colors like we had before, because some of those looked awesome, and I still have some of those.
Yeah, there's no version of it that's grayscale either. It's
Yeah,
all
exactly.
blues and blacks and stuff like
But
that.
I do
Nice
like this
green
design.
colours.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the look of these new bands. They're slightly overhauled. I mean, the textured. That's the thing. The texture finish looks good, and you can be guaranteed that if you want leather, you can buy leather. So
Exactly.
I don't see any issue with this whatsoever. Yeah, I think maybe the price is a tad high,
I would
but
say
then
the
this
price is
material isn't necessarily just a cheap material. So Apple being Apple, I'm surprised. I guess it's probably about right that it's where it is.
If we have a quick look over these Nike sport bands. So before, again, they used to have these 1 or 2 tone colors, but now you get this recycled.
I think these were already recycled, weren't they? Just more of it is recycled or something.
They didn't have this, yeah, if you open that up.
It's like chip.
That watch face as well, though. I really like that one.
That's beautiful. I love that.
It's a bit retro.
Thank you, Arjun, for the super chat. We will be going to compare iPhone models very soon. We'll talk about the iPhones in like a few minutes.
Yeah, is there even anything more to go over with the...
Do you guys have any last
Watch.
questions for the Apple Watch or the Apple Watch Ultra? And then we'll answer those, and then we'll go over the iPhones.
A lot of the bands are now coming in a completely different set of colours. One little thing before we move on is the Hermes watches are now predictably very expensive, but in a kind of odd selection of colours. Dare I say, Hermes was probably more well known for their leather work, something that will always exist. This looks like a pair of socks.
It does.
I'm not very. I used to think that the Hermes stuff looked good, but for the price, I'd never even consider it. But this, not so much.
It's definitely an alternative.
We just got another super chat from Katie Polkar. Why no video reviews out yet by MKBHD or other YouTubers? A few reasons. No one actually has the new stuff yet. So even the review nits, the reviewers who do get review nits, they get them next week. We sadly don't get review nits. We buy all of our Apple products ourselves. And when it comes to any videos before that, the people who are at the Apple events, they will likely be making some videos maybe today or tomorrow. And of course, we'll have videos as well tomorrow with things you didn't know, interesting facts about the new iPhones. And if you want us to make specific videos, do leave them in the comments down below. Otherwise, we have some good ideas. Another super chat from Sasuke Plays. No AirPods this year. So we did get a small update to the AirPods Pros. The second gen, they just come with a USB-C case. But that is the only AirPod update that we get this year, essentially. The AirPods Maxes and the AirPods, the standard models, are set to get updated next year with USB Type-C and a couple of other features.
Well, a very interesting point, but I can't quite confirm it at the moment, but it seems like you can't buy the case separately.
Okay, no.
If you want a USB-C AirPods Pro, you buy, as far as Apple goes, which I assume, would dictate the rest, you buy a whole new set of AirPods.
I guess they think, why, if you're
Maybe it's
buying
not
a
on
new
the website,
case, what's happening to your other case? It's going in a landfill, is their argument. Whereas a whole set of AirPods, that can go to someone.
But that is true, though. It is going in the landfill. It's a problem they made for themselves by using Lightning. That's true of all of these switchovers, but I imagine that just for money's sake, regardless of the environment, they would be interested in selling another $100 case to people who just spent $250 on a pair of AirPods. I feel like most people aren't going to buy a second pair of AirPods, but they might have bought a set of case.
They might have, but...
You would have, I imagine.
Buying another pair of AirPods for USB Type-C.
No, buying a case. I imagine
USB
you'd have
case.
considered a case.
I would have considered a case, yeah.
But not buying a second pair of AirPods.
Definitely not buying a second pair of AirPods.
I think everyone's quite comfortable sticking with Lightning for the time being when it comes to AirPods.
Well, that seems to be the assumption, at least.
We also got another super chat from James Callum. He's saying the new cables are woven, not plastic. That is true. The new cables are braided for the iPhones. And we also got another super chat from Kaiser9K. When are the AirPods Maxes coming? Also, what's the best color for the 15 Pro? So the AirPods Maxes are coming next year. Legally, Apple has to switch to USB Type-C by the end of 2024. So in the worst case scenario, they'll just get USB-C. In the best case, they'll get USB-C, the new H2 chip, maybe some other audio improvements as well, and maybe some new features. Okay, let me quickly check if there are any Apple Watch. Forgot to answer the second part of your question. The best color for the 15 Pro, I don't know. I think it's a matter of personal taste.
None of them are particularly distinct.
I do like the titanium color they've introduced. The beige one.
You're not going to get blown away by any of them. You've got the color from the Ultra. Make of that
natural titanium, that's how they call it.
Blue, which
Blue
actually
titanium.
looks alright.
White titanium.
Which doesn't look quite pure white to me, but maybe that's just the... No, it definitely isn't.
Mm-hmm.
And then black, which also...
I do like the black one.
Blue. They all look a bit brown. I don't know. That'll be interesting to see in person. Have they struggled to anodize the titanium like people said they would?
I think I'm going to go with the black one.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Maybe I'm trying to decide between the black one and the blue one. Definitely not a white. And
well, in terms of the color we get for the office, it's going to be natural, isn't it? 'Cause
It's
the
gotta
only
be,
one that's
yeah.
actually unique. So, I mean, people said there's no gold, boo-hoo, etc. You kind of got your gold.
yeah,
With the
kind of, I
natural
guess.
titanium, it's
Yeah, there's your gold. It's not the goldest gold in the world, but you know.
I have a feeling that they're gonna introduce the
Beige.
gold in March because every March they add some new colors to the iPhone, as in one color for the pros and one color for the standards. We just got another super chat from Joshua. He's asking, is the trade-in value good from a 14 Pro? Can you have a quick look, Harry?
Trading value good for the 14 Pro.
If you want to trade in a 14 Pro to get a 15 Pro,
Ah,
he's
we
saying
buy a
that his
15
battery
Pro.
is at 93% health. You're lucky, mine is at 88.
That's good. Yeah, that's good what you've got.
I didn't really get what you're saying there. CLD v GTA. Don't really get what you're saying
The
there.
14 Pro will give you $570.
There we go. That's your answer,
Up to.
Joshua. You can get up to $570 if you trade in your 14 Pro.
It will cost you $430.
I think you might be able to sell it for slightly more than that. Maybe 700.
$570.
I would say you can probably sell it for 700. The 14 Pro. Of course, if you don't want to sell it and you just want to quickly, get rid of it, then you can also trade it in. Okay, let's talk about the iPhone in more detail. So
Just quickly while I'm
Yeah,
on
sorry.
sorry, it's on the trade-in page. So they accept iPhones all the way back up to the iPhone 7, which they'll give you $40 for. And then they accept quite a random selection of Samsung stuff, not the S23s, but they start with the Note 20.
oh,
The best you'll get is an S22 Ultra for $325,
Wow, that's not
which
great.
is absolutely shocking by comparison to what Samsung offers, but it's Apple. And then they offer the 4 to the 6, and the OnePlus 10T,
oh,
and the 10 Pro.
that's
That's
weird.
it.
They forgot to update the list.
shout out OnePlus.
A bit of an odd bunch.
I would
but,
say it would make more sense to offer more money to Android users.
surely the S23 Ultra is an absolute given. Yeah, that's the thing. I think Apple seems to not be bothered about offering
Yeah,
big incentives to Android users, even
Because-
though they're probably the biggest people they need
Exactly.
to sway.
because iOS users, if you have an old iPhone, you're probably gonna get a new iPhone at some point, right? But
Yeah.
if you have an Android user and you have like an S22, you're thinking, okay, maybe I can get the iPhone 15. If they offer a very, very good trade-in value, like better than Samsung, then surely more people would switch to iPhones.
But just get them in the system
It's
as well.
Yeah, it's a very strange system, especially when Samsung offers such good deals.
I'm
Yeah.
just gonna quickly check.
People are going to do the maths.
The S22. I want to quickly check the S22 Ultra trade-in. You two carry on with something else while I just get to the bottom of this.
Another super chat from Hamza Zahir, Pro or Pro Max this year? I'm gonna get a Pro Max myself just because I want to have the best camera. And I've always wanted a high level of zoom on an iPhone, even though 5x is not that high level of zoom. But still, it is better than 3x. So I'm gonna get a Pro Max this year, literally just for that. But I think for anyone else, it really depends on if you really need that zoom or if you don't. One thing to mention is that both the 15 Pro and the 15 Pro Max are narrower. So the Pro Max is actually usable. Like I honestly couldn't use the Pro Maxes of before because they were just too wide, too heavy, just too uncomfortable. And that's now fixed with the 15 Pro Max. So that is one thing to keep in mind. And another is that the 15 Pro is also narrower as well. So if you've always loved the Pro form factor, then this is going to be even better now.
I can't find the.
I mean, the comments about Resident Evil playing on the iPhone is still like another thing where it's like, really? I can't believe that's actually happening.
Yeah.
Like, such a surprise drop. Before you know it, they're going to release No Man's Sky on it as well. Like, it just seems like...
it has to.
Exactly, yeah.
It has to, and it's probably a better game for it than Resident Evil.
We just got another
Lot more
super
social.
chat from HemiLife05. What's the battery life on the Pro Max if you're using it all day? Would you be right to have a quick look, Harry? If you go to the iPhones and then you go to compare.
Oh, as in what does Apple claim?
Yeah. You go to the
Yeah.
compare page.
Yeah, compare for the
And then you
15
select,
Pro Max. Yeah. okay.
Hemi wants the 15 Pro Max.
In terms
Against
of
the
the
14 Pro Max.
numbers, 29 hours video playback is the traditional.
And if you select the 14 Pro Max.
Omri's actually made a really good point here. Well, you know, it's a subjective one, but he's saying the smaller Pro with the 3x zoom is better personally for him because that's 75mm, which is more useful because there's not this huge gap between the 1x
Yeah.
and the 5x.
That's a glaring omission that Apple have introduced, which surprises me. Because, yeah, I mean, I feel like, yeah, it's too
But
big of a jump, but then
they
5x
believe-
is a bit less.
Apple thinks you're going from 2x to 5x
Same.
because of the binning. So, you know.
But binning on a 48 isn't enough. Binning on 200 megapixel, yeah, no problem. Binning on 48 is only good for 2x zoom. Beyond that, better off than a 12 meg. So, yeah, that is quite the... And there's no 3x lens. It's a bit of an omission.
Just to answer Hemi's question, as you can probably see from our screen, the battery life, at least judging by Apple's website, is exactly the same on the 15 Pro Max to how it was on the 14 Pro Max and the 13 Pro Max. Now, you need to remember that... sorry, there's
That's
one
the
on.
only difference.
Okay, now you need to remember the 13 Pro Max was actually noticeably better in real-world usage compared to the 14 Pro Max. So it could be the case where the 15 Pro Max is also better. And if I were to put my money on something, I would say yes. Like the batteries are bigger, then the chip is more efficient. So I think we are gonna get better battery lives, but maybe Apple is just trying to be a bit more conservative with their numbers.
It's not very clear cut though, is it? There's no confidence in this claim. When
Yeah.
the 13s came out, they literally said,
That is true, they did say, yeah.
this is going to be 3 hours better, this is going to be
Yeah.
4 hours better. With this, they haven't even mentioned the battery life for the most part. It's not very, there's just no real sense of confidence with what they're talking about here.
I wonder if
I
it's
question if it's
because
going to be no better.
I wonder if it's got more to do with iOS and stuff like that as well. Like with so many things changing with each update, they don't have the concrete data behind it to say definitely 3 hours.
But they did with the 13s. They
And
literally said
They
that
did, yeah.
with the
Yeah.
13s. They said it's this many hours better. And the 13s came out and it was like, wow, the 13s are good. Can't get any worse from here, can it? And then the 14s just car crashed it anyway.
We just got another super chat from Casanova, and he's saying, will the iPhone 15 have product red? So yeah, there was no product red, right, for the
No,
standard
not
15.
even close to that colour.
just
Wait
the
till
Apple
March
Watch.
though.
Yeah, I would say wait till March. Product red has been on literally every single iPhone for the past few years, and it's a very, very popular color. Like you do see red iPhones.
It's never been on the Pros though.
Not on the Pros, that's true, but I think he's asking about a standard.
Oh, I
model.
think it might be on the standard, yeah.
Is
Let
it
me
on
double
standard?
check, let me double check. I thought it was
I didn't see it, but maybe
No,
I
I
missed
think
it.
it's on the
not.
Apple Watch, but not a standard.
maybe the pink has
They're really proud of the
replaced
pink.
it. No, it isn't, no. There's actually less colours, there's one less colour, I think there was 6 last year.
Are you including the yellow from last year?
Yeah.
Because that came out a bit later.
yeah,
but
that's
as
true,
of this release, there was 6 colours, I believe, yeah.
Hakuna, thank you for the
there
super
is
chat as well. You're asking if GTA 6 will be on the iPhone 6 Pro Max. 16, sorry, Pro Max, so next year. I don't know, like we don't know a lot about GTA 6 yet. That game has been in development for like, what, 10 years now? Maybe even more. And we still don't know when that's gonna come out. Maybe next year, maybe the year after, we don't know. And in terms of if this will be on the iPhone as well, I would say yes and no. Yes, as in if you have Game Pass, I think you might be able to stream it. If it's gonna be on Game Pass, who knows?
Probably, yeah.
That'll be an awesome thing to happen.
The thing is, the thing you got to remember is that the only reason that these games are showing up on the iPhones is because the developers have been
Yeah.
incentivized to do so.
Yeah.
There's a reason that like no other game is on it. It's ultimately the same people that Apple work with. So it's not as simple as like, can it run anymore? It never was as simple as that.
Exactly,
It's
yeah.
as simple as who can be bothered to put it on the iPhone.
And you need to remember that GTA
the
6 is
Mac.
gonna be like the most anticipated game of the past, like what, 10 years or something? And it's gonna make tens of billions. Rockstar Games, they don't need a few extra million from Apple to...
I bet after
Yeah.
Apple's
Yeah.
involvement, it wouldn't even be that.
The thing is,
I imagine Apple gatekeep it.
with Resident Evil that they showed off, I played it on the M1 MacBook Pro, and it was all right. I mean, I could play it and I was happy with it, but it definitely wasn't the perfect gaming experience. So having it on an iPhone, which is less powerful than that,
Well, you
I'm
can
interested to
see
see how
in
it
the-
turned. Yeah, it did look a bit
Yeah.
rough around the edges.
Yeah.
I mean, I think on the M1 MacBook Pro, it was playing below 1080p. I think it was using Metal Effects upscaling.
It was, yeah.
So I don't even know what this is actually going to look like.
I would say it's probably running at maybe like 480p and then upscaled with Metal
Yeah.
Effects performance to, something that's a bit higher. We just
I
got
was
another
thinking like
super
maybe
chat.
540, so it's like half 1080p. But it's still going to be 30 FPS. I'm imagining locked.
Very likely
Everything
30,
turned down.
But it is impressive that this is possible. Just a quick one. We got a super chat from Paul Connect, and he's asking, does the iPhone 15 Pro have 6 gigs of RAM or 8 gigs? Unfortunately, Apple does not disclose RAM numbers, so we won't be able to see this from the website unless they randomly added those here, which we can have a look now, but I don't think so.
I'm almost certain they have not.
Yeah.
No, they
No, so they're only talking about the GPU core counts. That's basically it. Now, the rumors were saying, most of them, that we will get 8 gigs of RAM on the Pro models. But Apple hasn't said anything about that, which makes me think that maybe not.
No.
I don't know.
I think maybe this is one of the years where the leaks ran away with it a bit and too much stuff leaked to the point where we kind of believed everything. Oh wow, look, all this stuff coming. The reality was a little bit less kind of intensely full of stuff.
Maybe. We got another super chat from Tom Barton. Thank you. No message, but thank you for the donation. Right, let's see if we have any other messages from the super chats. We have one from Dylan Brown Duso. He's asking, I have the iPhone 12 Pro Max, 128 gig. Is it worth the upgrade and why? What would you say, guys, from the 12 Pro Max?
From the 12 Pro Max? Yeah, but I would still debate if you want to save some pennies, get the 14 Pro Max. I don't think, unless you really fancy the cutting edge, and I don't know how big the price difference will be, but I wouldn't rule it out. I think the 15 Pro Max will be very good, but the fact that it now starts at $256 means the price is now higher.
Yeah.
So you better hope that you want what it's offering. Yeah.
I would actually say between the 14 Pro Max and the 15 Pro Max, I would suggest maybe getting the 15 Pro Max because you get the titanium. It's narrower, it's easier to use, it's lighter.
It could feel a lot better in the hand.
Yeah.
That is a very good point. Yeah.
I was just thinking about that battery. I've seen so many people complain about the 14 Pro and the battery health just dying. That maybe that was just a bad year. Maybe skip it.
Yeah, I mean the only thing is I see no indication that this is helping with that. It almost seems like it's just another year of that. So I'm curious.
The stats have shown, yeah.
I'm very curious at the total silence on the battery life situation.
Another super chat from Pick O Day. You don't seem to be a fan of the yellow iPhone.
Yeah, I mean I see where he's coming from.
I think, so what's actually new about these colors this year is that before, the way they did the colors was the glass was essentially painted, so to say, on the other side. But now they said that it's essentially injected with particles that give it this color. So it should be a more uniform color and a color that is visible all throughout rather than just, underneath the glass, if you get me.
I think specifically on the regular ones anyway, isn't it?
Yeah, they've only said that about the regular ones,
The yellow before was just so vibrant.
Yeah.
That this yellow by comparison is like barely there. It is, yeah. Oh, I said earlier about the gold being, not being gone, but frankly, if that's meant to replace the gold, that's not going to be very good for most people.
Yeah. I think we could probably answer some of the non-super chat questions. We do have a lot of questions, so let's see. Sorry. In the meantime, we actually got some more super chats. So, Anas, thank you for the donation. No specific message. Demetrius, again, thank you for the donation. No specific message.
I can't remember which one you are, Rowan. I think you're number 1. Are you muted? Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think you are.
Check on his messages if so.
Battery sizes, I assume, are correct that we had. But yeah, again, how much difference this makes, couldn't tell you. We'll probably do some kind of battery-related video.
Yeah.
At the least, it'll get mentioned in one of the videos reviewing it. So yeah, definitely wait and see on that one, and don't make any assumptions, because the reality of the situation. Could be anything. Could be really good, could be brilliant, but could also just absolutely not be.
Yeah. Do you want to pick a question, Harry?
Well, I have some people mentioning side loading. No, they're not going to talk about that. As far as they're concerned, that's probably just going to come out without a single bit of fanfare. They aren't going to want to push that idea because it's not in their interests. It never has been. So if that does happen, you won't hear it from Apple. And if you do, it might be at the bottom of a press release or something like that.
Yeah, like if you guys remember the whole right to repair movement, like Apple was very much against it at the beginning, and then when everyone was, pushing Apple to change their policy, they've done it, but they've done it in a very silent way. So they do have a website which doesn't look like an Apple website, but it is an Apple website, and you can actually order components and tools to fix your iPhones. So if anything, I think the side loading, which by the way Apple is legally required to do for the App Store in the EU at least, I think it will happen. But like Harry said, I think it's probably going to be
it's not going to be
silent.
A feature.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've just noticed here, and I think someone said, are the bezels smaller? I don't think they're as small as the leaks made it out to be.
Yeah, they are a bit smaller. I would say maybe like 20%, 25%, but they're not half as small. They
were minuscule in the leaks.
Yeah, exactly.
And looking at this, they're not that thin. It kind of just looks like an S23 now.
Yeah.
So I don't really know what happened with all the crazy bezel sizes, but that isn't what we're getting.
We just got another super chat from Josh Mactos. He's asking, if I have an iPhone 13, should I upgrade? I'm assuming you mean from the regular 13. I would say, just like we said before, probably get a 14 Pro. If you're thinking about getting the 15, I would get a 14 Pro instead, refurbished. And if you're thinking about getting a 15 Pro or a 15 Pro Max, then I would say go for it. It would be a huge upgrade from the 13.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I do think the regular 15 looks good. It looks like a real nice kind of quality across the board improvement. But if you can get a Pro, if 14 Pro, you just stand to gain more than a 15.
Exactly, yeah.
It's not like it doesn't have the dynamic island. It's got a lot more going for it. So because Apple puts their kind of devices with such small differences, you don't necessarily have to default to the newest the new. You can really decide what your options are, yeah.
We just got another super chat from Demetrius. You're saying that there are no colored cables for the iPhone 15s. We can actually check that. So if you go to...
there isn't, already have.
There isn't, you have. Okay.
Yeah, it's white braided. I'll check with the regulars as well, see if there's any difference. Actually, tell me when you're good to go, Owen.
I know, I was like, here you go.
So with the, so a USB-C, that doesn't look, no, that is braided, sorry. That's braided on the 15 Pros in white, regardless of color.
You, Daniel. That's a silly message. You can unmute me now, Harry.
And it's braided on both. Yeah, definitely. Braided on both, not color matched. That was kind of a nice idea, but clearly not meant to be.
Quick message from Nuno, a friend of mine, and the answer is yes. I'll let you know. Probably not today because I'm really busy this week, but I'll let you know.
Spamming it like mad.
Also, thank you for watching the live stream. Also, we got a super chat from Stefan Paganic. Mulțumesc pentru donație. And you're asking, is it worth upgrading from the 12 Pro Max to the 15 Pro Max? I would say yes. From the 12 Pro Max, 100%. You get a brighter display, you get the always-on display, you get USB-C, you get a much better main camera sensor, you get a better ultra-wide, you get macro on that ultra-wide, you get a 5x zoom, you get a 2x crop, you get a ton. And that's not even scratching the surface. So absolutely, I would say so, yeah.
Then you're into the difference in the bezels in that picture, Harry.
Which picture?
The one you've got up on your...
You say the difference in bezels?
It looks like...
It's the same phone, right?
If you go to the compare page.
It's the 15 Pro.
See, this is...
The bezel difference is actually quite slight. We had this open earlier.
Yeah, if you go to that again, and then you have the 14 Pro and the 15 Pro side by side.
Yeah, well, I had the 15 the regular iPhone 15 next to it as well.
There you go. So that's the bezel size and the 15. There you go.
So the 15's bezels are the same as the 14 Pros. Unsurprising. It's basically the same display.
Same screen,
the
yeah.
Hertz. And then the 15 Pro's bezels are marginally thinner, but not really by much. I'm surprised that they haven't changed it more than that.
We just got another donation from Matthew Garcia. Didn't they say the 15 Pro Max balances out with last year's starting price for the 14 Pro Max? Since it starts from 256 gigabytes, I feel like it's worth it. I feel like buying the 14 Pro Max, but you get the latest iPhone. So yeah, essentially it is more expensive, the 15 Pro Max, but yes, it does start at 256. So technically it's the same price as before at 256. It's just that if you always wanted the cheapest Pro Max, now you have to pay more.
Yeah, relatively, yes, it is the same price, but in terms of the accessibility,
Exactly.
it's no longer the same price. You can't get it for 100 less, which a lot of people will probably have wanted.
Like in my case, I would get, I pretty much always got a 256 model, just because I'm using 160 gigs of data, so I need more than the 128. So in my case, I'm just gonna essentially pay the same.
Mm-hmm. Someone asked about, is it worth upgrading? Is it worth getting the 15 Pro Max or wait until the 16 Pro Max? And I would say, if you can wait, you might as well. Because there's no point buying sooner if you can wait.
When is that not true, though?
That's always true.
The question is, say it's just as valid next year and the year after that.
But it's like the shorter gap that you make between buying phones means you're spending more money overall. And if you really can go without it, you really don't need to spend that money. So just save it and you'll notice a bigger upgrade at the same time.
I think if we're talking can go without, we wouldn't be talking Pro models.
That is a good point.
I don't think that the Pros are particularly made for stuff you can't go without. Yeah, I mean, realistically, the 16 Pro Max, if you really are that bothered, you would wait 6 months for the leaks to start coming out.
Yeah.
However, we've just got a new telephoto on the Pro Max. We've got a new piece of material on the outside. The frame on the front is a little bit changed. I wouldn't go expecting much next year.
Speaking of next year, we do actually know some stuff about next year. There's not a lot, but what we know so far is that apparently the 16 Pro will also get that 5x periscope module. So both models are gonna be getting that lens, and both models, the Pro models, would be bigger. So the 16 Pro is set to be increased to 6.3 inches from 6.1. And then the Pro Max is set to go up to 6.9, so that's going to be a huge phone. So, in that case, you could wait and maybe get the 16 Pro next year. Or I think maybe the best approach is, if you need a phone right now, get a phone right now. If not, just wait. Another super chat from, hold on, I'm trying to find a message again. From Siddharth S. Check the 240 watt cable. Does that mean the 15 charges fast? Yeah, can we have a quick look to see?
What was that one, sorry?
The charging cable, to see if there's any mention of faster charging on the 15 Pros.
Are we talking compare page?
Yeah, compare page, and then we can look at the stores to see if Apple's selling the cable.
Well, so 15, was this 15 versus 15 Pro?
This was, yes.
Right, okay.
And the 14 Pro as well.
Oh, it's one of the new wallpapers as well. The little bubble sort of
Oh,
shapes.
okay. That looks pretty good. I do like that.
So charging, it's right at the bottom, I believe. Yeah, here you go. No.
Interesting, yeah. So
No,
the
not at
fast
all.
charging. Okay, can we check the store if you open up a new tab?
It just says up to
And then can we
50%, 30
check-
minutes with the 20
It says the
watt
same on
charger.
all three things.
I think it's because the charger isn't fast enough, really, is it?
Yeah. 'cause-
Well, if it was faster, they'd have said to buy a faster charger, though, wouldn't they? Because if it was capable of more,
That
they
is
would
true,
say
yeah, they
buy
should
the more
say, yeah.
capable charger.
Yeah.
They still, the same one they promote is still the same 20 watt one.
So I would say that in that case, I don't think it charges faster. Otherwise, they would have mentioned it. I mean, the weird thing is, even with the 14 Pros, officially the charging speed is 20 watts. But unofficially, if you use a faster charger than the 20 watt charger that Apple sells, you can get up to 27. So maybe it is faster, but I don't think it's significantly faster. Otherwise, Apple would have mentioned it for sure.
Well, interestingly, the cable that I'm going to assume ships with all the iPhones, because this is the only one of its kind on the site, is 60 watt. 60 watt
Interesting.
USB-C charge cable.
And then go back to the 1.5 meter one.
It doesn't Make it very clear though, it almost sounds like this is for the MacBooks. It mentions no
Yeah,
device.
60 watt charger cable. Okay, and if you go up and you change that to
Oh no, that'll be
all
sorry.
50 models.
It's a bit open to interpretation.
Yeah.
This one, yeah. We'll get the special cable on it and
If you
find out.
change the size to 1.5 meters,
No option for
oh,
that.
2 meters, yeah, if you change it to that, then it becomes a 240 watt. Okay.
Yeah, which I assume does it now mention? No, it does not. It
Interesting.
mentions
So
no products there.
that means that most of the iPhone 15 cable leaks were actually false. We still get a braided cable, so I guess that was true, but the cables are not color matched. The cables are not 1.5 meters, like they were leaked. There's no 1.5 option. And on top of that, there's no Thunderbolt cable option, at least as far as we can tell.
Well, the thing is, they already sold Thunderbolt cables
Yeah.
because they make them for MacBooks and stuff.
If
The
you go-
iPhones don't require exclusive cables, and it doesn't seem like they've made an exclusive one either.
We just got some comments. So let me quickly see.
Yeah, featured iPhone accessories, 20 watt charger.
Mm-hmm.
You can be pretty sure that that's all you're getting.
Okay, Amon is asking what happened to the red iPhones. So just respond to that, red iPhones, we mentioned this before. The fact that there is no red iPhone right now, but there's a very, very high chance that in March, when Apple usually releases a new iPhone color, last year they had the yellow, it is very likely that they will be launching a product red because like they've had it every single year and it wouldn't make sense for them not to have it this year.
Imagine if they released a Pro product red.
Well, that's what
That'll
the
be cool,
leaks
yeah.
were, though, wasn't
I
it?
know,
The
but
leaks
what
were that.
what if it is in the future? And that's why people have been confused about it.
It's been very random in the past, hasn't it? Because
Yeah.
the 13's got Alpine Green,
Which was
and
my
which
favorite.
was
My
available
favorite.
on the Pro.
That was the best one.
Yeah, it's a shame you didn't get the Alpine Green one.
But the blue's still nice as well.
And then the 14 got in a unique colour that was just yellow and just for the 14s.
Mm-hmm.
And there was no Pro colour. And then now we have, I mean, admittedly, one of the dullest collection of colours for the Pros. I don't think this is a highlight year for the Pro colours. But yes, we could get a different colour for this. We could get a different colour for the regulars.
I would put my money on maybe getting a gold for the Pro models because that's been very popular in the past. I mean, we've had a gold iPhone, I think, every single year since the 5S. The 5S was the first iPhone to come in gold. Yeah, so I would put my money on a gold
Well, the 10
Pro.
didn't have the iPhone 10 didn't
No,
have
actually, that's
gold,
true.
yeah.
That is true. The 10 came in silver and black, and that was it.
Yeah, I mean, gold has been a bit of a staple. It's always been kind of black, white, gold.
Yeah.
They kind of have this natural titanium, but it's not very gold at all. But I get the impression, although this could be completely wrong, that they're struggling to anodize these in many colours.
Maybe.
Because to me, but I'm very curious to see if this is the case in person, all of these colours look tinted brown, including the black. Which means I think that maybe they're struggling to anodize the titanium. This could be completely untrue. I don't know if this is right, but to me these colours do not look as pure coloured as they were before.
I think they're just playing it safe this year as well. They're just like, right, this is titanium. You're more impressed by
Yeah.
titanium than the
Maybe.
array of colours.
Maybe they're just saving all this kind of stuff for sequels.
And this makes me even more curious as to why they haven't included a black Ultra 2, an Apple Watch Ultra 2, because like you've got these titanium iPhones that come in so
Yeah.
many colors, and then the Apple Watch Ultra still comes in the standard titanium color, which is so weird. I don't know.
I like that standard colour, but it would be nice to have some options for the people that really care.
100%, yeah.
Colour of it is, oh, that's the black model.
Yeah.
It doesn't look very black to me.
No, I agree.
They went
that
they went a
doesn't
step back.
Yeah.
I like the black iPhone they just released, the space black. And they went back to
Yeah.
making black grey again.
I think the reality was if you said to someone, would you like this titanium one or this stainless steel one, they'd probably always pick the stainless steel one.
Probably, yeah.
This, I don't know, the blue is a weird one. The blue's a weird exception because it looks like they've kind of got the blue one bang on. The blue is quite, I mean, this still has a bit of a tint to it, but the blue is quite blue across the board. But
You have to remember that these are obviously the curated images, and it always looks different in real life.
Exactly. In person, it pretty much always looks a bit different.
it tends to look a lot worse in real life.
I would
yeah.
say in some cases it does look better. Like, let's take the MacBook Air, the Midnight MacBook Air, the M2 model. It looks very, very blue on Apple's website, but in person, depending on how the light hits it, it can actually look matte black, which is awesome. So yeah, in some cases it can look better. Just a quick one, we got a super chat from Woof Force, and You're asking, is it worth upgrading from my S20 Plus? And also, what is your guys' favorite Pro color?
S20.
S20 Plus.
Blimey, that's...
Yeah. Have you used the S20 Plus, Harry? Or was it the
No, I had the S20 regular in that incredibly dull grey they had. But I mean, if you're upgrading from the S20 Plus, the world's your oyster there. Like, pick your one out. There's so many options that you could pick there. I don't even know where to begin. Yeah. I mean, I think it definitely is, but you're talking, how much money do you want to spend? Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
Because again, you could upgrade to the 13 Pro and be better off there. I wouldn't really recommend that far back. But like, yeah, there's a world of options here. You could get the regular 15 and be really well off. You could buy the regular 14 and arguably spend very little. I don't know where to even begin with that. If you look into Samsung's offerings, you can get an awful lot for your money there.
Oh yeah.
You could get an S21 for like 300 quid, S21 Ultra, and get a ton of options.
I mean,
like, where do you even want to begin?
You can literally get a Galaxy Fold 3 on eBay for about, I don't know, like £400 here in the UK, something like that. Yeah, there we go.
£400 for an S20, 350.
£400, yeah.
Like that phone has a 10x module, like a good 10x module. It's got a 108 megapixel camera. It's got a lot of stuff going for it. It's got a 120 Hz display, bright display. Like, I'm not saying buy it because it is a tad old and you can do better, but 350 quid. Good luck beating that with any other option.
And that's got a 120 Hz display. I think it was a 10x optical zoom module.
Yeah, full 10x. Yeah. This is
proper
just
phone.
as capable as the S23 Ultra, but not quite as good at low light.
We just got another donation from Daisy Perez. No message, but thank you. That's always appreciated. We got another message from. Where is it? Sorry, guys. It's so difficult finding your messages. There's so many of them, which is good. Gamer, is it worth upgrading from the iPhone 11 to the 15 Pro? 100%, yeah. That's a huge upgrade in every single way. So yeah. I mean, if you're talking about the standard 11 and not 11 Pro, then yeah, there's a huge difference there. Brighter screen, 120 Hz, much better cameras, much better battery. So I would say 100%.
You could also get a refurbished Pixel 7 Pro for £500.
Okay.
Pretty much flat in certain places.
And the Pixel 7 Pro is also a very good option.
Yeah, I know not everyone likes to go for Samsung, and I feel like the Pixel is also one of those options where it's a very clean aesthetic, got a good ecosystem in its own right, a lot of little Google Assistant features. The only problem would maybe be battery life and the chip itself, which is just a bit.
Yeah, it's not great. Yeah.
That's why I would never recommend a Pixel over a Samsung. All the ecosystem stuff isn't even exclusive to the Pixel anyway. The Pixel does have charm, I'll give it that, but the amount of compromise it requires, it's just so hard to recommend. Yeah, unless you're getting one of the newer versions, but then obviously the price goes up. But like, yeah, I don't know. The Pixels just lack a lot right now. I mean, the Pixel 8 is coming out soon, so, you know. How much does it charm?
Google has already teased, by the way, so that's already official.
Teased/entirely leaked.
Exactly.
It's just sitting on their website now with like, yep, here it is. Coming soon. I mean, Google doesn't really care for big over-the-top events at this point anyway. They just kind of say, take it or leave it. There you go, there it is right there. Right there on the page.
We got another super chat from Definitely Maybe. And he's asking, what's the battery life from the 14 to the 15 Pro model? Are you referring to the 14 Pro or the 14 to the 15 Pro? Because if you're talking about the battery life improvements from the 14 Pro to the 15 Pro, even though Apple doesn't specifically state any improvements at all, I do believe that the battery is going to be a tiny bit better.
Same on regulars as well.
And the thing with the regulars is that they were not as bad as the 14 Pros. The 14s from last year, they had the previous chip, so they had the 13 chip, which was very good. They lacked the always-on display. And yeah, they were decent. Like, no one was really complaining about the 14. So I think if you're coming from a 14 to a 15 Pro, I don't think you're going to see that big of an upgrade, unless you're coming from a 14 Pro. Another super chat from Push Deep Paddy, and He's asking, professional photography here, I cannot seem to justify purchasing a 15 Pro Max against the iPhone 13 Pro, which is running well after 1.5 years. The camera upgrades seem incremental. Thoughts?
I think Owen should answer this question because he's
What do
currently
you
using
think?
a 13 Pro.
Yeah, that's true. You are using a 13 Pro Max. Yeah.
I really like the 13 Pro Max. I feel like you can wait. The only upgrade really is going to be the zoom and the 48 megapixel main sensor, which has had some good results of that photo, but I feel like the 13 Pro Max can still last. There's like not a lot of situations where you're going to be whipping out your phone instead of your professional photography camera that you're a professional photographer. So really those cameras are what you're going to use mainly.
Exactly,
And it
yeah.
still does a great job. And the video, I think, still looks great. Like looking at it over, I'm still like actually amazed by the video. So there's no reason to upgrade with the 13 Pro at all.
And when we did the camera comparisons between the 13 Pro and the 14 Pro, which you can watch, you can still watch on our channel, we found out that in most situations, when you have a lot of sunlight, the images looked identical from the 14 Pro to the 13 Pro. So there were not any differences in normal situations. When it comes to low lights, macro, that sort of stuff, yes, the 14 Pros were better.
But even then, I don't think they were that much better.
Exactly.
Because we put some examples together and we're like, oh yeah.
If you go
Not
to
much of
the
a job.
camera modules between the 15 Pro, 14 Pro, and 13 Pro, what do we see there? What sort of improvements does Apple mention?
There are some benefits coming with the 15 Pro. With the USB-C, Pro RAW transfer is a lot
Exactly.
easier. But you probably have AirDrop, which isn't really that slow and it's quite efficient.
Telephoto is identical.
So, no, it's not a massive reason to upgrade, I would say.
Between the 15 Pro and the 14 Pro, this specs page is
Smart
a miserable
HDR5.
read.
That's the one that I'm excited for the most. So Apple has improved the Smart HDR processing. Let's see, was it 12 that got iPhone 12 Pro? Okay, so it was the iPhone 13 that got Smart HDR4. And then the 13 and the 14 both had 4. And the 4 was not great. Like the highlights were very blown out on iPhones. Like we've been doing quite a lot of camera comparisons over the years, and that's what we've noticed. I think ever since the iPhone 12 or 11 or something like that.
Well, it went up in a big curve, and the 10S's came out, and it was like, oh wow, they've really got
Yeah, the 10S was
computational
insane.
photography
Yeah.
going mad here, like crazy results. And then it just slowly started going the other direction again. While everyone else caught up on computational photography, Apple decided to let go of that grasp. And by the time the 14s had came out, it was like, wow, that's just straight up worse. So yeah, if this doesn't fix the problems, I'll be astounded.
I do hope that it does. Like, at least from the images that they showed on the iPhone 15 especially. Oh yeah, if you check the 15, does the 15 also have Smart HDR5?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it does. Okay. So maybe that is fixed. I hope so. But
yeah,
it's weird
I mean,
because
we'll find out soon enough in a couple of weeks.
on Android phones, when a phone blows out shadows, or sorry, the highlights every single time, they release a software update that just fixes that. But Apple hasn't,
Apple considers it an aesthetic.
I guess.
Android Twitter goes mental. And because Android actually has proper competition, Google starts comparing themselves to Xiaomi, and Xiaomi starts calling out Samsung, and OnePlus does better, for example. But when the iPhones do it like that and people complain, it's just an aesthetic.
We just got another super chat from Siddharth S. He's asking if the iPhones can now reverse charge the Apple Watch and the AirPods. No, sadly no.
I actually did question if that would have been a surprise feature drop.
Yeah.
I was a
There
bit-
was something that almost alluded to it, but I think it was just their phrasing that I almost believed that, so I can see why someone might have been confused by that.
I think that it's just
disappointing
a bit,
that it isn't.
It's a bit odd that it's lacking because it's just like
So
so
late.
commonplace elsewhere. Yeah, I mean, shout out to Samsung for obviously having such a coherent system there. I think that must be coming at some point, but I don't understand what Apple is.
It's so weird
waiting
because
And they already have a good name, AirPower.
exactly, exactly.
for. Maybe they don't want to bring it up.
But it's so weird because Apple has actually had the tech for reverse wireless charging since the iPhone 13. And then if you have the MagSafe battery pack, you can actually reverse charge it with an iPhone. So that functionality already exists, but it only works with one specific accessory. We don't really know why. We have no idea, and Apple hasn't really mentioned anything about that.
Yeah, that's an odd one. That's an odd omission that they don't seem to have any interest in pushing that, even though it's a really good feature that they could promote.
Yeah.
And I don't think it requires any engineering because it basically already exists.
Exactly, it's in there.
Now that you can charge the AirPods with an Apple Watch charger, there's clearly some kind of carryover there.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure what they're waiting for at this point.
Another super chat from BK, and he's asking, I think I'm going to upgrade from the 11 Pro Max to the 15 Pro Max. Seems like it is really worth it. A lot of improvement over the past few years, right? 100% from the 11 Pro Max. Like, we don't have it with us here, but we do have it in one of our other, in our studio. And the 11 Pro Max has such a tiny camera module. Like, it's crazy. It looks like it's fake, yeah.
Like a little tiny square.
Yeah, so I mean, from the 11 Pro Max, the improvements would be huge in both the camera quality, the display, the battery. The only thing to be careful about would be the size. The 11 Pro Max had a 6.5-inch display, whereas the 12 Pro Max and after, they got bumped to a 6.7. So it is a larger phone. Like I said, the 15 Pro Max is more compact than the 14 Pro Max, so it will be more comfortable, but keep that in mind. I was using an 11 Pro Max, and it was great. And then, like I said, I just couldn't use the 12 Pro Max. It was way too big, too uncomfortable. So
that's the thing, isn't it? It's more comfortable compared to the most uncomfortable phone on the planet. Like,
exactly.
It's not a huge. It will be interesting to see how it feels in person. I mean, we have these models, and generally they do feel a bit more, I don't know, made for a hand. But with the titanium finish and stuff like that, and the actual proper weight, I'll be curious to see if that really does follow through. Because by the images, the difference is tiny. But sometimes little differences like that are what it needs. So yeah, I mean, if you're coming from a 6.5-inch 11 with its lovely rounded sides and much smaller frame, like everything's a bit more slight, I think maybe try and go and see that one in the shop or something to see if you really agree with its dimensions, because it's quite a unit. You might be better off with just the Pro.
We just have another super chat from Siddharth. He's asking if we can quickly check 1505 at the Apple event. So
sure.
I'm not sure exactly what would be there, but we can have a look.
No.
So,
but let's find out. 1505, you say? This better not
sorry,
be
53
some
minutes. 53 minutes.
Troll.
I hope it's not a troll. Are we getting trolled? Let's see. So 53 minutes and 5 seconds.
Is this when is this the charging thing? Is this a follow-up on? I think they're just talking about the cable being USB-C.
I think it's just a cable, yeah.
I guess that's technically, USB-C works both ways, doesn't it? So you can charge accessories by just plugging it in like it's a charger. We power a lot of stuff in the office in shots by just plugging our own phones into the other side of it. So yeah, this is a USB-C feature that they're saying, oh look, it's new, because by Lightning standards you couldn't do this. Yeah, I feel like that's all there really is to unpack there.
We just got another super chat. Oh, we've got a bunch that came in at the same time, right? Let's see. So
let's fire them up.
Janani is asking, should I buy the AirPods Pro 2s for USB-C and the iPhone 15 Pro, switching from Samsung Note 9 and Galaxy Buds, etc. to Apple products, or should I wait for more features?
Do you have a spare £1,500?
It's got to be very expensive.
How much do you want to live in the Apple system? If you really do, and you really have the money to put aside, you won't be disappointed. Yeah, you won't be sad by the move. It's not like you'll be living in regret. It's just quite the investment in, mobile technology.
Exactly, it's not going to be cheap.
You've chosen two very expensive versions of those products.
Yeah.
There, you can get very good headphones for half the price of the AirPods 2 in the Android world. So yeah, just weigh
another
up your options.
super chat that's expiring soon from Matt. He's asking if the bezels are significantly smaller on the 15 models. He doesn't see any difference. So if you can bring up 15 Pro, 14 Pro, and then the 15,
well, the 15
then we can
is the
show
same as
Matt.
the 14 Pro.
Yeah.
Pull that up, Jamie.
I don't think they are that different. I think maybe a 20% reduction or so. You might want to wait and see in person how much of a noticeable thing this is. But even by Apple's wording, I question if the bezels are still the same, it's just the frame is now bigger.
Mm-hmm.
So the difference between the inner bezel and the outer frame is actually the same. There's just now more frame and less bezel, as opposed to very little frame and more bezel.
Yeah.
That could be wrong, but it looks like that. And the way they worded that was quite particular.
We just got another super chat from IOWow10. Do you want to take this one on? It would be the yellow one. I plan to upgrade from the iPhone 10. The only difference is between the 15 Pro and Pro Max is the display size, the optical zoom, and the battery. Should I go for the 15 Pro or Pro Max, or should I buy the 14 Pro?
Buy the 14 Pro in black.
Yeah.
Do you own a pair of AirPods? Because if you don't, I'd recommend the 14 Pro with AirPods. These are very expensive products. Do you how much money do you have to burn?
The 14 Pro,
We're
you
talking
can
thousands
get
here.
refurbished for a lot cheaper than you're going to buy a 15 Pro. And the 15 Pro, yeah, it's nice. Lots of bells and whistles, but...
But unless you're getting the
Not-
Pro Max,
Yeah.
I don't think there's much point even really considering the 15 Pro. I know we're in the UK here, but you get the gist. 920. Like, yeah.
Another super chat from
800 quid. Sorry,
Cheyenne. Sorry.
£800 for a 14 Pro. It's technically, oh god, wow.
The thing about super chats, guys, is that they actually expire, so we only have a few, I don't know, 20, 30 seconds to answer. So Cheyenne actually asked, do you think the gaming upgrades will benefit something like Warzone Mobile coming out soon, or is it just specific games? It depends. It's really, really up to the developer. So we don't know. It's up to the developer.
The thing is, the important thing to remember with that is that Resident Evil Village came out in its full fat form on mobile. Warzone Mobile is not regular Warzone on mobile. It's a specific version made for phones.
Yeah.
So maybe you'll get a slight graphical bump, but don't go expecting anything like the current console version put on it, because they just don't have that
Bashar,
kind
is
of
it a good
interest.
idea to upgrade from 13 Pro Max to 15 Pro Max, or expected for big changes next year? There won't be massive changes next year, but you've got a 13 Pro Max and it's good enough. There's no point upgrading. You're just, decreasing this time between buying phones and spending more money for little upgrades.
Yeah, I would say from the 13 Pro Max, I would maybe think twice before upgrading. I mean, sure, you get stuff like USB-C, you get a titanium frame, you get a telephoto, you get the always-on display, you get a brighter display, so you do get a lot of upgrades. But
The 13
I
Pro
don't
Max was just such a good phone. It still is
Yeah.
such a good phone. Like, everything it did was like a refined iPhone experience, and
I don't think
there's not much you can improve on that.
Yeah, I think the reality is that this jump, the 15 Pro and the 15s even, the jump was again a small one. I think we were expecting a big jump, but I don't think that's what we got. So it remains the same situation where if you're going to upgrade, you're going to probably want to upgrade from a 12 and probably no further than that. I think especially if you're looking within the same field, like Pro Max to Pro Max or whatever. But yeah, generally, I don't think that the 13 Pros and the 14 Pros are going to be a massive jump to the 15 Pros of any kind.
if you have a 12 or older, 100%. If you have a 13, maybe. If you have a 14, I would say probably not.
Especially not if it's not the Pro Max.
We just got a super chat from Kaskov. He's asking, Pro with USB-C that supports 10 gigabits per second, but USB-C cable with USB 3 speeds, is that optional?
It's kind of
Can we find it out? If you go to the 15 page, the 15 Pro page, separate page.
It's kind of. I'm kind of confused by the question, actually.
I think I get his question, like, is the cable that comes in the box, is it USB 3? Or is it
No, I'm almost certain it isn't. Because
I'm
I
pretty sure it's
I wish they went with USB 3.2 speeds.
Yeah.
To be honest, Apple's supposed to be a premium brand, and it feels like
I think it's
falling
technically,
behind a bit. In
I think they
simple
know fully
steps.
well that, yeah, they don't really have to live up to that reputation anymore. They're perceived as a premium brand regardless of what they do.
USB, the whole USB naming schemes have changed so many times. It's very confusing, but I think these used to be USB 3.1 speeds, if anything.
Yeah, I think 3.2 is 20 gigabits now.
They changed so much, honestly. Because initially it was USB 3.0, which was, I think it was 5 initially, then 3.1 was 10, and then 3.2 was like Type A and Type B. There were two of them.
Yeah. It is quite confusing, all these different speeds. And then they changed it again to say like Generation 1, Generation 2.
Exactly, Gen 1 and Gen 2, yeah.
And then I think they finally changed it on just putting the speed in the name,
I think so, yeah.
which, it's confusing.
Another super chat, sorry, did you want to say something?
No, you go with the super chat.
Another super chat from JuiceMan93. He's asking, should I upgrade from my S23 Ultra 512 gigs?
No.
No.
Big fat no.
Oh,
Is that a joke? Is that a joke?
I think it's a joke.
That's literally just a downgrade.
Yeah.
I don't really like the S23 Ultra. It's one of the...
Oh, it's awesome, yeah.
I've never liked Samsung phones. I've liked other Android phones, but for some reason Samsung has never really stuck with me. And the S23 Ultra is the only phone that I've been like is a real head turner.
Yeah.
It's just how it looks, how it performs, like everything about it. I've just been wow. It has a good image to it as well, and yeah, they're a good phone. I think if Apple's not careful, people will look other ways.
Nah, not in the Apple world. Blind by design, isn't it, in the Apple world?
I don't know. You know, things can change, and certain. I'm not saying that there'll be a massive change in the market, especially considering what we've heard about like stats, even like Korea, where they were saying that even like the home of Samsung is everyone's going Apple there.
Yeah, I think that people don't care for specs like they used to. I think people care for being marketed to at this point. I think that's why you see a massive prevalence in buzzwords and stuff like that, yeah.
We just got a super chat from Ben. He's asking, do we expect the fine woven cases and wallet to be water resistant in any way?
That's a good question.
Yeah. Can we see that here?
I would assume so. I mean, leather isn't particularly water resistant. Water can very much damage it.
Oh, here's an interesting point that I think it's Aaron, maybe pronounced.
Arjun Singh? Sorry for completely murdering your
Aaron
name.
Singh? I just ordered the AirPods Pro 2nd generation with MagSafe case, USB-C. It's $25 cheaper than the Lightning variant here in India.
Really? Okay.
That is really
Interesting.
Do
interesting.
you still have the Lightning variant?
Maybe what they
Maybe
used to
just
cost?
comparing it to the
Yeah.
previous price. That is really interesting. I wonder, you know, maybe here, especially in India, I mean, aren't they making factories in India? So maybe there's some ways that, for India specifically.
Pass on the savings.
Maybe, yeah. That would be good. Yeah.
It's the same in America, for what that's worth, yeah.
Is it?
It's $250 for the
Big up-
USB-C
big up
version, just
India.
like it was before, yeah.
Wasn't that the same price?
Yeah, exactly. It's the same price as it was for
Yeah.
the Lightning in America, yeah.
Another super chat from definitely maybe 14 Pro battery issue fixed in 15 Pro. We don't know, but
Don't assume so.
I wouldn't say. I would probably say there's a higher chance that the battery will be better on the 15 Pro than worse. Let me put it that way.
I would be astounded if it's worse. We never actually answered the question about the fine woven. We just kind of loaded it and
sorry.
moved on.
Sorry.
There is no stated, like, either way. It's not made clear either way. I'm going to assume, yeah, because it's clearly made of plastic and plastic survives everything.
Yeah.
So I would be very surprised if this doesn't survive all the water you can throw at it. But it is not made very clear. They just say durable. Make of that what you will.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd be very surprised if this is any worse than leather in terms of water resistant. Because it's just, there's no, like, plastic is better than leather, and this is mostly plastic. So yeah, it has to be better.
We just got another super chat from Tech Expert. He's asking, is your opinion that the iPhone 15 is worth it over the 14?
I would say so.
If you're
it's a
talking
regular.
about, if you're talking about the regular models, I would say, if you have a 14, probably not. Because I don't think you should be upgrading your phone every year. But, you know, if you don't have a 14 and you're trying to decide between, you know, the prices and all that, I would still say get a 14 Pro refurbished. That's gonna be my answer. Every single time someone asks about that. But if you do want to get them brand new, then I would say 100% pick the 15, if you don't mind spending more for it.
I mean, the camera alone being 48 megapixel and the whole changes with that, I think is a really big sway. And that black one just looks amazing.
The black is awesome, yeah. And the green as well, but especially the black.
Can't get over it.
Okay, should we maybe answer a few more questions for, let's say, about 7 minutes?
Oh yeah,
The UK will have the SIM tray.
It does, yeah. I've seen people addressing that, yeah.
Yeah.
Will address some battery issues with
Unsurprisingly.
3nm A17 Pro. Yeah, pretty much.
In terms of battery life, we will tell you soon enough.
Yeah,
As of
we'll do
now,
testing.
Nobody knows.
Shadow Skylar is asking, what is the difference between the 15 Pro and the 15 Pro Max camera sensor? So from what we can see, they are using the exact same main camera sensor. So the 15 Pro and Pro Max specifically. The only difference is that the 15 Pro Max has that 5x telephoto module, the periscope module, compared to the 3x on the 15 Pro. But yeah, other than that, the main module is exactly the same.
I'm pretty sure pretty much all of it is the same. 15 Pro Max, 14 Pro Max. Or was it 15 Pro Max versus 15 Pro? Yeah, I mean, I know that it's got the 5x zoom, but even the telephoto specs are the same.
Yeah, Apple
Super 8 and everything.
never really states the sensor size. So according to the rumors, the telephoto modules on both would be bumped to a brand new 12.7 megapixel sensor. At least judging by Apple's numbers, it hasn't been updated unless Apple's rounding down that number from 12.7 to 12 to look better. But then at the same time, the ultrawide was rumored to be bumped to a 13.3 or 13.2 megapixel sensor, which hasn't really happened because they would have called it 13. So I think that these are the same sensors as last year.
Yeah, I don't see why they'd have bothered with the 0.7 if they weren't even going to market it. Like, for what gain? They seem to have no, even on the camera compare page, there's no stated difference. So it just wouldn't make any sense for it to be that big of a jump. And again, I think that might have just been the leaks getting a bit ahead of themselves.
Right, let's see, what other questions do we have that are not Super Chat? We'll end this live stream in about 5 minutes, guys. So if you have any questions, any last questions, feel free to ask us, Super Chats or not. Let's pick some that are not Super Chats. We've had so many Super Chats that we haven't had a chance to answer the ones that were not Super Chats.
Well, a lot of people are wondering the same things. RAM keeps coming up. We don't really know. Seemingly not. It seems like there's seemingly no stated difference. But they don't mention it anyway, so who knows how true that is.
We just got a question from a 12 Pro Max. Go for 15 Pro Max or 15 Plus. So if you have the 12 Pro Max, I would say that yes. Like we said before, I think someone else asked the same question. If it's worth going from 12 Pro Max to the 15 Pro Max, and I would say yes, you get a lot of upgrades. Brighter display, the new 48 megapixel camera sensor, you get 120 Hz, which the 12 Pro Max did not have, so it is a really big upgrade.
Why did Apple brand the A17 chip the Pro chip?
Yeah, so we actually mentioned this. The reason for that, we don't know for sure, but what I was thinking is that there were some rumors about 6 months ago or so that next year Apple will have two versions of the A17 chip. So the current one and then a lower end chip that would be just manufactured by, I think it was a different TSMC process that was a bit more accessible. And it would be inferior slightly to this A17, even though they would both be the A17. So it would make sense for that to be the normal A17 included in the standard models, and then the 16 Pro would then get the A18.
There's some marketing thought at play there, isn't there?
Exactly, yeah.
Something, it'll probably make sense next year. When it all gets
another
revealed.
super chat from Willisand. He's asking, so I have the XS Max, will I buy a new Pro, but the Max is even bigger? My XS Max battery health is at 79%. Yeah, if you're coming from a XS Max, the Pro Max would be significantly bigger. So I would say, just like Harry said, to someone who asked a similar question, probably try it in the store.
If you have the opportunity,
Yeah.
double check the sizes, because the 6.7 inch, even the 15 Pro Max, it might be a bit more comfortable, but they are big phones, real big, real wide as well.
Exactly.
So just double check you're happy with something quite as substantial as that, because no matter how good it is, it's still big. And the littler Pro is still perfectly good.
Thank you for your donation, Chuck. Okay, let's pick a few more non-super chat questions.
Someone's asked if the thermals on this new phone will be better. I feel like the thermals on most of the iPhones are really good generally, except the 14 was a bit warmer.
The 14 Pro was I wouldn't say terribly warm. The Pixel Fold is very, very hot, by the way.
That's just that G2, isn't it?
Tensor at work,
the
isn't it?
tensor is
basically?
very, very
It's
hot.
probably because you tried to load a photo or something. Yeah. Tensor's thralls.
But I mean, when it comes to the 14 Pro, it did get hot, but not crazy hot. So it got fairly warm. Let me put it that way.
I think the thermals will be fine.
I would say probably better because it is a more efficient chip, so it's going to produce less heat.
That's what I thought.
They've talked about the wattage being a lot better.
Yeah.
So that includes battery life gains, hopefully.
The interesting thing about the iPhones is that they do not use any vapor chambers like a lot of the Android phones do. And a lot of the Android phones, like the S23 Ultra and a bunch of others, not necessarily the Pixel, but Oppo phones and Xiaomi phones, they run very, very cool. So you can play proper games and they would not feel hot at all.
Yeah, that's the problem that the Pixels are going to be facing, is that all of Samsung's flagship offerings are using the same very good chip.
Yeah.
All the S23s, both the Fold and the Flip. The Pixels are really poor in this regard, and the iPhones are fine. I've never really noticed the iPhone's been terrible, other than people saying it like shuts off in hot weather and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I've never used one long term, so I can't comment on that.
The iPhone 12 Pro, when I used that after my phone was stolen for a bit, it did get pretty hot. I do remember. And I was like, wow, I didn't realize just how warm these got, and I feel like there's been a bit of a change since then.
Yeah, just very packed in, aren't they, the hardware? Right, we should probably call it at that.
Let's probably answer one more question
Yeah,
each,
pick
and
one.
then call it a day.
I'm going to take this one. Shall I buy the Ultra 1 or the Ultra 2? Ultra 1 every day of the week. Don't even bother with the Ultra 2.
I was going to say that one.
It's just such an obvious answer, isn't it? It's such a given.
Owen, want to pick the next question?
You go ahead, I can't even find one.
Um,
Do you think they'll release product
feel
red
free to
this
pick
year?
one, and then I'll take the last one, and then we can end it there.
Do you think they'll release the product red this year? No, they'll release it next year.
Would March count? Yeah, this year being this like
Financial
cycle.
year, yes.
Yeah, I feel like that's the more relevant question. Will it be this cycle? Probably. Although red, I don't know. I don't know if it'll be red. I question if it'll be something completely different.
And I'm going to answer one last question, which I'm trying to find who said this. Unfortunately, the chat is going extremely fast. But the question was, is the highest end storage option for the 15 Pros, is it 1 terabyte or is it 2? Which is a really good question, because that actually got rumored. So let's have a look. Apple hasn't said anything about the 2 terabytes, so it makes me think that it is still 1 terabyte as the highest end option.
Transition back to the Safari page. Right, iPhone sizes on the 15 Pro.
Yeah.
Let's look at the Pro Max specifically, because that starts higher. No, it does not.
Oh, it is 1 terabyte.
It is 1 terabyte. Again, the leaks.
The leaks were
The
not
leaks
correct.
became
Yeah.
sentient and ran away because the leaks have got a lot of stuff overhyped here.
So there you go.
Yeah, 1 terabyte. Same story as last year. 1 terabyte across the board.
And what about the standard iPhones? Do they go up to
Where did they
512? Was it
cap
512?
out? Yeah.
Or 256? I'm trying to remember.
15 Plus caps at 512.
512, okay.
Yeah.
Which is still a lot. Half a terabyte.
Yeah, interestingly, yeah, for a price that brings it to the Pro Max area. Yeah, $10.99 for the 512, 15 regular, and $12.99 or $11.99, sorry, for the 15 Plus.
And there we go.
So yeah, all in all, an interesting mixed bag of kind of cool, like that'll be good to check out, and the leaks kind of just again
Exactly.
setting the expectations too high and not under delivering. I can't blame Apple for that, but when we cover them so intensely and we kind of watch the event looking for these things, when they don't arrive, it can sometimes feel a bit like, oh.
Exactly.
Another
I mean,
one of them, yes.
we'll obviously get the iPhones in the studio soon, which will be next week. And until then, definitely stay tuned for more videos. We'll have some videos starting tomorrow on. We'll dive into everything that Apple has announced today, and maybe even discover some interesting stuff. But yeah, thank you guys for watching the stream with us and interacting with us and asking us the questions.
Yeah, thank you very much
yeah.
for joining us.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you
Until
guys.
next time.
Until tomorrow, stay tuned to the channel.